What? What?
Welcome to Anonymous by Matt, episode 102. Sorry, we're talking about some stuff on the back end. Wait, I need to get rid of this.
Patients and their
I need to get
medicines.
rid of this image. Hold on. Where am I going to put this image? Back. Oh, no, 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 no. Put it back. All right, so how do I get rid of this image? Oh, there we go. Put this one in behind everything, and boom, you're disappeared. All right, and yeah, so it's looking like we were supposed to get our YouTube channel live streaming back by now, and YouTube still hasn't given us back our channel. Um,
YouTube.
yeah, we do have a YouTube channel. In fact, we had so many followers on there. I think which was the magic number. I mean, that they gave us the option of doing a personalized link, which was I think it was an either anonymous worldwide or anonymous Becky. I can't remember what we had decided on that. So you can catch our show live on all of the other links. This was kind of like a group. This is a topic that we've talked about so much in a lot of the shows. Is that social media has really become an activist's worst nightmare. Like for instance, Preston had told me earlier this week, that the health ranger, which was the guy who did he did the forensic acoustic analysis on the Las Vegas shooting, and had determined through math and doing forensic acoustic analysis on the shooting that there was a second shooter. Now he had roughly 100,000 followers, and I don't know how many people he's had videos that have had 1 million views. Big, and not only that, anons are losing huge pages on Facebook, like 160,000 followers, 50,000 followers, and in between us, one of our shows, we had a warning from Facebook that we had to delete our content or keep it within the terms of service. And it didn't occur to me until thinking about it that I think on the previous show or the show before that I had explained in explicit detail how did we get kicked off of Twitch? Oh no, it's working. How the algorithm on how the Facebook shadow ban works on Facebook. And I think that might I don't know how many people are really listening to us on Facebook. It's come to a point where we might not even need to be on this platform anymore. We're going to have to move somewhere else and just stream everywhere else. But I think somebody from Facebook land listened in and had figured out that we had explained in explicit detail on how this Facebook algorithm works and how they are shadow banning you. And I don't think they particularly like it.
I was approached directly by Facebook, in I assume a bid to buy me off in some way. And when I told them, hey, that I wasn't interested, in not so many words, my page was immediately locked up. And not just, that you can't share, there's the normal censoring that they've been doing, but that you can't answer messages, that you can't, connect with anybody, you can't access your numbers. It was obvious. And I mean, within literally, I explained to them that I would not be bot, which most of us would answer the same, but they shut my page down immediately because of it. And that doesn't count. We're in New Zealand right now. I'll post things on my page, and the people that I know here in New Zealand will be sitting right next to me, and it won't show up on their feed. If I'm doing something live, if I'm posting updates, if I'm posting, every once in a while one will get through, but, you don't even realize that you're being censored. You don't realize that someone in Germany isn't seeing your posts. You don't realize that, somebody in the next town over, when you're telling them about an event, isn't seeing anything. It's starting to get bad, guys. Like, I've had to kind of move over to Twitter a little bit more and YouTube, but I mean, we're having, and it's we were talking about before. It's not just activists on the far left or far right. Alex Jones is being censored. Anybody that's saying something that they don't want to hear, true or not, they're shutting down.
Yeah, YouTube had actively declared that they were going to get rid of conspiracy videos, right? But lo and behold, one of the anon fucking videos, anonymous global, was saying that we had found UFOs and that we had stolen NASA files, and YouTube does a shit job of basically. I think that they're picking favorites and deciding what kind of content is essentially on there. And now it's not just YouTube, Facebook. Now it's Google Plus. I think the only last platform we really kind of have that's kind of big is Twitter. And now Twitter won't essentially ban you or shadow ban you directly because of your political views and statements. Now, if you become too popular, you will run like James O'Keefe and other people. We've even seen evidence of shadow banning on God on WikiLeaks. So I mean, when it comes,
and that's one of those things. I mean, to the people that are listening, I mean, these guys are not very smart. So if you've seen a recent what you would consider to be a conspiracy theory taken offline, chances are those are the ones that are true. It's not like when it comes to some of these. Look, on some of these, we're probably not right. If you've got 10 conspiracies, only 5 of them are true. But take into consideration, 5 of those nightmares are true. Right? So name a conspiracy that we haven't looked back on and been like, oh yeah, they were totally doing that. Remember, it's a conspiracy. Hey guys, if I went back in time and told you in 1990 that the government was listening to every single one of your transactions, phone calls, and emails, they would have told you were crazy. But 100% they were doing it. Right?
Yeah.
If you went back and said, they're picking people off of the street and out of prisons and homeless people, filling them full with drugs, driving them to another state and dropping them off, they would tell you it was a conspiracy. But that is 100% true.
And it was those guys who invented LSD.
Yeah. I mean, there's no end. Remember in the early '90s, right? You would have been laughed out of whatever office that you were in if you came out and said, "Hey, the CIA's selling crack in the hood." But guess what? The fucking CIA was selling fucking crack in the fucking hood, right?
Yeah,
That's just like. But if you went back in time and said that, you would have been a conspiracy theory. So I mean, the things that they are doing and that they are accused of are so horrible. Right? Chances are it's true. They probably still are collecting up people. They still are doing experiments. They're still listening to your calls. Right? They're doing all of that shit.
Did I even tell you that there was evidence of FBI getting they had a deal with Geek Squad. So when people were getting their computers and were bringing them in to get their shit repaired, they were reporting.
They were snitching on them.
We're snitching on them to the FBI.
Yeah,
which is a violation.
That's true.
It's true.
And that's like the
part of my shirt.
If you're in pretty much, if you're online, the internet right now is being controlled by our government. And they look, if somebody doesn't want to play ball, right, they shut them down or force them to be shut down. But look, all of these companies to even exist have had to say, okay, we'll work with you guys and do what you want. I can post some here of companies that have said, look, if I have to work, if I have to give you guys backdoors, if I have to give you guys access to our servers and all of that, then yeah, I'm just not going to do it.
What were they asking you to do? What were they asking you to do, Terrence? So you say they were asking you to kind of join up, but what are they looking for?
Well, I mean, in this, they were offering money to, pretty directly as well. I immediately didn't play ball. It's just not something that I was interested in. But theirs was pretty much, we've got, an offer. we're interested in some of your sites, blah, 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 blah. Now, none of the pages that I run are like pro, you know what I mean? Corporate oligarchy. So I couldn't imagine which ones they would be interested in besides trying to silence me. And the deal is, once you sign over, you know, one thing, you'd be surprised how, oh no, that's all of your pages. You know what I mean? But that's normally their first go-to, is to kind of offer you some cash, and that's worked. Look, all of the Bernie sites, all of the Jill sites, they were all bought off. All of them.
Jesus.
You know, and I ran some really big ones with the Bernie campaigns, you know what I mean? Millions and millions and millions of people, and it became quite obvious quite quick that, you know what I mean, they were all working for the government. You know, there wasn't anything there that was real.
Jesus. Well, I mean, you know, like, you know, when it comes to, what Micro had sent me, you know, when, you know, you download your Facebook file, I've been telling people this for a while, that, you know, the Facebook app, you know, it was really reaching further into your mobile device than you actually think, you know?
Well, and like people, there was a bunch of, I'll give it to like some of the, and this is one of the things when I'm talking about corporate media, I'm not really talking about, you know, small town, you know what I mean, news agencies, because there was a lot of them when the Messenger app first came out that like did put up the red flag, like, hey, you know, why do they need access to all of this stuff? And that was quickly shut down. You know, that question quit being asked by anybody.
Uh-huh.
But, you know, you guys can look it up, you know, Messenger app, I think it was maybe 2 or 3 years ago. And there was a few, like I said, kind of small town news agencies that did stories on it. Like, you know, is the government overstepping, blah, 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 blah. And like I said, it was like a, you know, 1 or 2 people asked the question, and then all of a sudden that question just quit being asked.
It's kind of out everywhere now, especially the whole breakdown of the likes, the happy faces, how it releases the dopamine in the brain to intoxicate the adrenaline to flow.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, and that's what I was saying earlier about how the posts that people are seeing are satisfying like your interest in something, but that are actually not, you know what I mean, not actually news stories about it. So people that are looking into like, you know, pollution, people that are looking into animal cruelty, in child trafficking, in government corruption, you'll see posts that are kind of like that. So happy animal videos, animal rescue videos, videos of people swimming through trash, but then no actual story behind it. You know what I mean? Like, who is this company? What is it? Where you would get information. It's just the happy story to get you not interested in the truth. You remember a couple of weeks ago, some of our biggest videos were of the corporate farming techniques and the animal slaughterhouses that are just absolute positively nightmares, right? Just animal cruelty to an extent that you can't imagine. And you notice those aren't on Facebook at all anymore. Right, those aren't on YouTube anymore, but there are tons of videos of, you know, this person saved a deer from cold water. Yay, humanity!
Well, it's because a lot of these big corporate companies have invested a lot of interest into the social media sites, you know, which.
Oh yeah, and they found out. Look, you can straight up buy them.
Yeah,
Right, you can buy the ads. You can saturate the you know what I mean, the network, the internet with complete and utter bullshit if you want to. For like compared to what it would cost you to do the same thing, in corporate media, it's way, you know, it's way smaller. Take this for instance. You know, they're offering me a couple $1 million, right? Or we're offering me a couple of $1 million to shut down my pages, or to tell, you know, to post things that they want me to post on my pages. Now, some of those pages are millions of people, you know, hundreds of thousands of people. If you were going to take out an ad on the radio or the TV that was going to reach, you know what I mean, 12 million people, it would cost you, you know, just huge amounts of money to even put it together, to put
couple
the video,
million. Yeah,
all
it'll
of it.
cost you a couple
Yeah,
million.
we're here, you can spend nothing, and the people do the work for you. They share it for you, right? They do the advertising for you.
Yeah.
What gets me though is you don't see CNN getting any strikes or being in any trouble. I mean, there's obvious winners and losers in
Yeah,
this program.
Facebook has specifically attacked RT. But you're right. CNN doesn't ever get the strikes.
I got a strike because I was sent the video from inside the school of the school, at the school shooting. And on the video, you hear the shots and people screaming and all of that stuff, but you don't actually see the shots being fired. You know what I mean? You don't see. There's no gore or anything in the videos. And I did that, you know what I mean, on purpose. I don't think that's the point of what the video was about. But it's the same video that CNN picked up, that NBC picked up. I mean, it's out there hundreds of thousands, if not millions of times now, and yet they shut down my page for it as if it was a violation. And even in like my post in social media afterward, I showed them, look, this is being posted by all of these corporate networks, right? We posted it 12 hours before they even knew it existed, and they shut our page down.
Yep. I mean, this is pretty bad.
Welcome to government-controlled social media, brothers and sisters. Like at some point, you guys know that we're working on our own social media network. It does some other cool stuff. I don't think that's really the point here. Like I talk about it on my pages, so I'm not really gonna go into it. I don't have to sell it. But I do think that even if we don't do it, someone is going to come out with a social media network that doesn't have the government breathing down their neck, or there's personal information being sold to corporations. That's it. That's the only two things you have to do, and people would flock to it.
That would have to be somebody outside the U.S. U.S. has laws against people owning monopolies.
We're building
They
ours
took money from Zuckerberg, Bill Gates.
We're building ours in Switzerland, in Australia, and in South Africa, and that's kind of where we're starting from. And that kind of keeps us. It's just not possible to do within the U.S. You're 100% right. But this is also the internet. We also run on ideas. We're not restricted by borders like that.
Well,
I don't think they know how the internet works, and some like they do and they don't.
there are social media websites out there that have been really good candidates, but they a lot of them, I would say 90% of them that I have looked into have all fallen short. What people want. And I hate to say this, I hate to put this out to the programmers, right? If you can listen in, this is what people want. People want fast access, and the majority of content that people want to see is not going to be text-based, but video-based. If you could put in those elements into a social media site, people will run today.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, look, ours does video and encrypted messaging, and I mean, it does all of the things that people want out of social media. But our thing is, we've made apps before, and part of we've made a bunch of them. And part of making apps is that it has to be visually appealing. It has to be engaging. When it comes to social media, everybody from the age of 12 to 102 has to be able to use it, and that is very hard for people to balance. The first couple of social media networks that have came out have been very, not technical as in hard to use, but very technical looking, right? And they don't have that kind of gloss appeal that people want. And I think that ours changes all of that. On top of it, people don't just, we think that people just don't want to exist on social media. They want to be part of something bigger. They want to be connected to something bigger, and they want to be doing good in the world. So we're using distributed computing to connect all of those devices together, all those millions and billions of iPhones and tablets and computers. And while you're posting funny cat videos in your live stream, you'll also be working on cancer research. You'll also be working on research to MS, and that'll all happen under the in the background without you even knowing it. But just by using the network, right, just by doing what you're doing now, we'll be able to tackle some of these gigantic problems, undermine the fossil fuels industry, the pharmaceutical industry. We'll be able to do some real good in the world with this thing, and it's by having access to a huge amount of processing power. But to the user, right, they just get to use a normal social media network that doesn't spy on them.
Yeah, I don't even think MeWe had pushed that one off. I think MeWe is. I've been hearing rumors that even MeWe has been fucking selling. Not only that, like if you look at if you inspect their page elements on some of their shit, like guys, like if any programmers listening from you, you really need to buckle down on your code because you have so much shit in there. It's literally slowing down the fucking site. It's literally slowing people's access to
Yeah, it's killing us. And
there.
I mean, I think, look, I mean, like all of it, we're, just like me, we were crowdfunded. I really like what MeWe is doing. I don't think that that's, otherwise I wouldn't be building our own, right? But I don't think that that's the way that people are desperately looking for something else, and the people that are completely pushed off of social media network are on there because we have no other option. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, I guess you could see it that way. I gave me a big whirl, but they failed to meet up to their expectations. They kept on telling us, that at least when I would message some of the people that were working, back in, they told me that within the next 6 months they would be releasing uh, uh, live streaming video content, and no, that's not what they did. They allowed us to upload videos, which is not the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, people definitely want the live stream. Like you want, look, the platform of Facebook is not particularly the issue. I personally am so sick of looking at that blue screen. I'm so done with that. Like it's square, it's ugly looking. I don't like the aesthetics of Facebook, and how we put it together is completely different. But the videos that are on there, people love those things, right? Being able to the status post, the people love that part of it. That's not what's lacking in Facebook. In fact, it's the extra shit that we're done with.
Yeah,
If the government wasn't spying on us, if they weren't censoring people and using Facebook as a weapon, then people wouldn't be running away from it. They would stay with that kind of ugly blue screen forever. It's usable. I get to talk to my grandma. I get to talk to my kids. This works out.
yeah. Another thing that they've incorporated, and this is going to be the downfall of, and I've been saying this to content creators on Facebook. And if you guys, if I'm listening and I get my Facebook page shot because of this shit, because I explained the algorithm how the Facebook banning works, okay, whatever. But they're literally shooting okay, there are still a lot of content creators on Facebook that do the video content, that do this and that. And now they are getting people turned away from their video content because now I'm really into, like, let's do the 5 minute, the 10 minute videos. And now every 45 seconds I have to watch a fucking commercial. Like, what the fuck, Like, that's just.
Yeah, and I see a lot of the Facebook videos where, look, we do videos from our tablets and our phones, and they have the look of that you're live, that you're straight from somebody's living room, or really connecting with them as a person. But in actuality, it's this whole studio production that they've put together. It's not like real, you know what I mean, guerrilla news. It's not actual reality, even though they make it look like it is. They have kind of that guy that you want to make $3,000-4,000 an hour, working 2 days a week, be a millionaire, and they give you the video like he's live streaming from his cell phone on a kayak somewhere in the middle of the ocean. But he's actually got cameramen, and he spent advertising, and it's like it's a professional production that's made to look like it's being shot from a phone, like it's reality, and it's totally not.
Photoshop. Photoshop.
What?
Oh yeah, it's like
Photoshop
the
what?
asshole that's always the guy the Lamborghini guy. I like more than my Lamborghini knowledge, right? He's always like you just happened to turn on his phone while he was waxing his Ferraris. Like this is somehow. Oh, hey, I didn't know you were coming to the door. Come on in. Hey, you guys want to make a bunch of money? Send me money, and I'll make sure to send you a pamphlet that describes the whole thing. Right? And it's so fucking bogus. Oh, hey, I was just
Something's
hanging
up.
out with these supermodels in my private jet. You want a private jet and supermodels, don't you? Send me a little bit more money, and I'll tell you how. But it's so bogus. It's not, you know what I mean? It's not reality, even though they're giving that illusion.
That is true. I don't see. I really don't see a lot of these major social media sites. I don't see them lasting for the next. You know what I've been saying this. I don't see them around in the next 5 to 10 years, specifically because of what's going on now. And what's going on now in the social media sites is nothing like what we saw back in the MySpace days. Um,
No, they're gonna turn into MySpace. That's what's gonna
that's
happen.
yeah. I mean, I was getting high.
Well,
And it should
I mean,
happen.
yeah. I mean,
well, yeah, that's what
the
I'm
stuff
saying.
like
There
that we
is
got away on
no.
MySpace was like crazy. We were literally selling drugs on MySpace.
I never even shut down. I never even shut down my MySpace page. That's how much of a shit that I gave.
Yeah.
Right. And what Facebook right now, there isn't like a alternative that people are standing behind. Right. In the second that that happens, people will drop Facebook in a freaking heartbeat. In a heartbeat. And like we are making a bunch of apps to go along with this that automatically download your videos and your pictures and your groups and your friends lists and all of that shit and transfer them over. And like the reason we're doing that is because we really believe people have no loyalty to Facebook. You know that they're spying on you. You know that they're going over your information.
Dude, they're
If
literally the app
you're
is
somebody
literally
that's just
taking your contents and screenshotting your shit from time to time. That's how far they're getting into your
yeah,
shit.
there is a guy in a cubicle right now looking at your kids' photos. Think about that for a minute.
And you don't even have to be on Facebook. Just visit a website that advertises for Facebook. They're collecting it right there as well.
Yeah. So I think like Facebook may still have a platform in business that you have to have a Facebook page, right? But only for a short amount of time. Like I said, there is nobody has loyalty to Facebook. You don't talk to anybody and they're like, oh yeah, I just love the government breathing down my neck all the time. It's just tits. They don't. Nobody says that. So it's just like people are waiting for the next thing to come along. We just have to provide that for them. And I think most people have been pretty vocal about what they want out of social media.
Yeah.
I'm a old gray chat myself where you just surf from channel to channel to channel, change your nickname, pick a
You know what I hear
channel, go
is
to
going to be big is and I've been talking about this is a few people have been working on this is a decentralized social media. It's the decentralized social media platforms similar to using blockchain technology because who essentially has ownership if you don't exactly have it directly on something.
Well, I mean, we're using some of the ideas that were really pushed originally through Bitcoin mining.
Yeah.
Is a lot of the just for people that know what we're building and being able to put a lot of processors to work on one project, on one idea and getting all that infrastructure to work. We've used Bitcoin mining rigs as kind of a a platform of on how to pull it off. Like all of these things, I guess, are completely possible. It's just kind of seeing what pans out, what movements come along. But I think the bottom line is, Facebook's on a time limit. They got to get all the information, shut everybody they can while they can. India's putting up a free internet, right, on satellites. What is that, 2023, something like that? They're supposed to have the first, free global internet satellites up. That's going to change a lot of things. Right, when you no longer have to go through the US ISPs to talk to your friends.
Oh, is that how they get it in India? I always assumed they used the Atlantic
Well,
the
no,
Atlantic line.
India's space program is scheduled right now. They have the satellites ready to
Oh,
go.
that's what I was
Right,
hearing about. Yeah, they're setting up a broadband network up in space. I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
exactly. So India is putting up a broadband network, and that's supposed to be global, right? And it's free internet for everyone. But the same thing is, you're no longer going through the American ISPs. You're no longer going through the system they needed. You can freely connect to On3 from anywhere in the world, right? You don't. The fact that the U.S. says we would like you to not use this social media network doesn't particularly matter. everything that they came down this hard on has all backfired on them, right? They could have let Napster just be Napster. People, a couple of computer geeks would have, we would have downloaded it, downloaded stuff, and watched some pirated movies, but the entire world wouldn't known about it. They came down so hard on Napster, right, and all of the sharing networks. They pretty much every single person on the planet knows where to get copywritten material now.
Yeah.
Right. It's a normal part of life. If they would have just let it go, that wouldn't have happened. In that same push, right, in trying to keep everything so copyright and screw over musicians and artists, right? People are now you can be the biggest artist on the planet and only have your YouTube channel. Right. You don't have to go through Sony Records. You don't have to be screwed over by a record company to make music. If they would have just paid their musicians a normal rate, right, what they deserve, that wouldn't have happened. Right? Everything that they've tried to come down and come down hard on this like this, when it comes to the internet, has made it worse. And this is another time where you'll see it. They've tried to silence so many activists with censorship through social media, and it's only made those activists more popular.
Yeah.
Right? You tried to arrest a 14-year-old girl so she quit making in Palestine, so she quit making angry videos about the genocide going on in her country, and now you've turned her into an absolute superstar. Right? Y'all should have just let her slap you in the face. Right? It would have cost you a lot less issues, because you deserve the slap in the face.
Well, the people that get hurt or getting hurt the hardest is the ones that invested too highly or too much in YouTube and Facebook. They didn't get on the other platforms. Now they're struggling because when they get hit, it's like you're starting over. Whereas if you'd have been doing it the whole time,
well, yeah. What is the
you'd
Health
already
Ranger
been.
gonna do, dude? Like he is 100% invested. I'm not even sure if any of his shit. I think all the stuff on his website is links from his YouTube page. Like, what the fuck is he gonna do?
Yeah, see, like, even Facebook's been hitting us hard, but because of the water protectors networks, because of the work we did in Puerto Rico, because of the other things that we've been a part of, it doesn't particularly work. But even getting our Twitter numbers to match our Facebook numbers is rough. Like, you have to start, in some cases you really do have to kind of start all over, but at the same time you kind of cut the fat each time it happens. Right, in that you did have a lot of viewers that, look, they really weren't sharing your stuff. They really weren't watching any of your stuff. They don't really care, right? The 500-600 people, 1,000 people that actually do follow you, right? They're going to support you across YouTube, across Facebook, across me. MeWe. They have a vested interest in what you're doing, and because of that, even when we do switch over, like I said, that it sucks, because you can't show people the big numbers when you approach them. If I approach somebody that I want to do something, I want you to get these solar generators from Texas to Puerto Rico. If I approach somebody and say, hey, I've got 10 million viewers, right, I can get that done a lot easier than when I say, hey, I've got 200 people that are following me, right? They don't respect it the same way. They don't see the benefits of it. But every time we get shut down somewhere, you do find the 200-300 people that were really soldiers, right, that were really with you.
Yeah.
And that's that's a hidden, that's a little bit of a hidden benefit. Out of some of these movements that are 20 million people, right, there's probably less than 1 million people that are real deal. And having them arbitrarily being cut off and having to start over, the people that were interested in it, they see, okay, this guy's being censored, we need to push harder on this, we need to push harder in that. Like everything, I'm a real positive dude, so I always see it.
Well, yeah, there's been discussions about us even just completely streaming to our own website, but that's not gonna be cheap. It's not gonna be cheap.
You guys did they not learn from their mistakes? You kept Che Guevara, turned him into a sign of the revolution, right? You kept JFK, and you turned him into a symbol of the goodness of America. Right, you capped Martin Luther King and turned it into a movement that now has a day off, right? In several countries, not just America. Right? Every time they try to silence us, it's never fucking worked. Right? Not even MLK. I mean, not even Malcolm X. Like, every single time that they've tried to silence us, it's made it that much worse. Learn from your mistakes.
Yeah. Oh God.
Like they turn it, a guy standing on the corner talking about the government conspiracies, right? Nobody was listening. People were turning their head and walking away. When you sent thugs over that shot him, right, and somebody live streams it, well, now it's turned whatever he said into national news, international news. Don't you guys fucking get that?
Yeah.
They should have looked at the no dapple pipeline, especially in the very fucking beginning, right? They should put the pipeline somewhere else. Now it's going to cost them the entire industry.
Yeah. Speaking of which, I haven't been following up on DAPL. What's going on in the court cases and all that?
Oh, they're getting murdered, man! Like everything that they did was illegal.
Well, I knew that. They violated. They
That's like the
violated the
bottom
18.
line.
What is
So,
the treaty
and
of
we said that from the
1870
very
or something like
beginning,
that?
right?
They
Look, we've cost them millions. We've cost them millions in lawsuits, right? We've cost them billions in the divest movement. The oil pipeline is already leaking, so it's not like they can say, "Oh well, hey, it's And we're talking quick, man. 6 months later, it's already busted a hole in it. Like there's so much against them. My point in the beginning was that they could, like I said, they could have let that go. They could have paid every single person there, $20-30 million, right, to put it through the town next to it, right, and walked away. But instead, they tried to call in their thugs. They tried to, They tried to do everything humanly possible, arrest us, attack dogs, all of the things that have never worked in the past, right? And because of it, like I said, the entire fossil fuels industry will be done in 50 years before it was supposed to, before they had planned on it. We're looking at decades instead of, a decade, 5 years, 10 years before it's a thing of the past. And most of that has to do with Standing Rock, because it exposed so much corruption in one little spot against people that were doing nothing wrong but defending their land.
Yeah, I have been seeing a lot of articles still referencing, to the major banks and who they've supported. And
oh yeah, they're slowly being bled dry, which I try not to get too
look at Wells Fargo. Look what's happened to them, dude. Like,
oh yeah, billions. Entire countries have pulled
their
out.
Stocks are fucking crashing like no others. To be honest,
free fall. They've had to put an arbatrary stop on their stocks 3-4 times now, because it literally, as soon as they open it back up, people just want to get fucking rid of it. I don't want to have anything to do with this. Right, it's just not the future. And every little bit, the mercenaries, the infiltrating our police departments, the beating people up, the illegal searches, the absolutely all of it, the polluting of our land, the whole thing, the using of our corporate media system, it all boils down to what they did at Standing Rock. Right? They could have let it go. But they didn't, and because of it, we'll bury them with it. And that's with most of these industries that they try to come down hard on like that. The people that they try to come down hard on that.
Yeah, they legitimately violated that. That was the treaty of 1870 that with the Sioux, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's one of those. Okay. I mean, and yes, when it comes to tribal law, but to be honest, the U.S. government has violated every tribal treaty that they've ever signed. So I mean that it comes to a point where, look, if the U.S. government asks you to sign a treaty, tell them to go fuck themselves. Right? It's just not reality. They will never ever hold up their side of the bargain, and we have to learn that. As Indigenous people, we have to learn that. It's something that's in our culture that wants to believe that a square deal is a square deal. And when you're dealing with people that are this much scum, they are not honorable men. These are not honorable warriors, right? And you have to treat them as such.
Well, they're snake oil salesmen. They'll promise you the world, and 10 minutes later, you're getting stabbed in the back.
And they always have. There has to come a point when they hand you that treaty, you spit on it and hand it back.
Yeah.
At a certain point, you got to draw the line, and so nah, you put me, no, you write it down in real court. Right? In fact, my lawyers are taking your punk ass to real court. Yeah, I've got heaps big buyer's remorse, right? Go fuck yourself. And that needs to be, right, and anytime the government wants to take over your land, not for some sort of weird national security bullshit, but because they want to put a highway, they want to put a skyrise, they want to make some of their friends money, no, just keep it the way it is. It's with all of these, the people that we're dealing with are not honorable, so we can't treat them as being honorable. On the same note, you don't owe them anything, right? You don't owe them shit. If they do you up somewhere, fucking lie. You don't owe them anything.
Yeah.
These are the same people that will kill your family members, poison them slowly, right? Like dig your house out for nuclear material and then leave the radioactive hole and then move your reservation on the top of it. You can go fuck yourself. You're lucky I don't burn your fucking house down. I'm not telling anybody to burn their house down. I'm just saying. Because we are honorable people, we'll treat you with respect and non-violence, but it's not what you deserve in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a total difference in knowing that we have to be non-violent and in showing people that this is the way of the future, but that's definitely not what you deserve. Right? That's not what these oil companies deserve. That's not what these corporations deserve. The people that poison the water in Flint, knowingly poison the water in Flint, and have still did absolutely positively nothing about it, they don't deserve jail time. They deserve death.
Did you see how? Have you seen
We can't give that to them, but that's definitely what they deserve.
That Netflix series that's going around, it's called Flint. You know how bad it is over there? They're not necessarily just covering the water crisis, but the crime.
Oh, yeah, from the Superfund sites, like corporations have been shitting on the people for Flint forever. I mean, when it comes to any of these industries, they don't care. They will cover a toxic site and build you a house there. And then not own up to why you're dying of cancer on top of it. So after you've given your life to this factory, right, they don't even have the guts to say, yeah, you know what, we knowingly exposed you to all sorts of fun chemicals. In fact, we have your kids playing in grass right now that's growing on top of those chemicals. Your grandkids.
Yeah, it's not only that, Flint's turning into another crime-wise, it's turning into another Chicago,
Well, I mean, look, the people are struggling so much, and it's like, at what point is it crime? My government has already poisoned me. You know what I'm saying? My kids are already affected by it. My family's sick. My house is fucking toxic. I can't move. You know what I mean? There's no jobs here. There's no work here. Most of us are people of color. You're not going to hire us. I haven't had a job at a factory in 5 fucking years. You know what? I'm just going to rob that liquor store. My family will be able to eat. I'll be able to afford the bottled water at the end of the day. You know what I mean? At what point is it crime?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, are we, you know what I mean? Well, they're selling drugs in Flint. You can't drink the fucking water. You know what I mean? What else would you like me to do? I can go to my local CIA agent and he'll sell me some fucking drugs. It comes, like I said, like, you know what I mean? Crime is, in a lot of cases, look, I'm not saying there isn't bad people out there. There are some real psychopaths out there. But in most cases, crime is a symptom.
It's not a symptom. It's just it's a product of the situation. Yeah.
It's a response to being poor.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It's a response to being poor. It's a response to having nothing. I mean, like, you talk to people and you'll meet people that are like, look, you know what I mean? Oh, well, you're going to go to prison. Man, I get 3 meals a day in prison. It's absolutely shit food. You've obviously never went a day like to be actually hungry. 3 days, 4 days, a week. Most of us have been, you know what I mean? Most of us have been hungry here and there, but not real hunger. You know what I mean? Not when you're looking at a kid that hasn't eaten in 3 days. Fuck, man, I'll put a hole in every liquor store on here on the eastern fucking seaboard if my kid's hungry.
Yeah.
In a heartbeat. And it's like, oh, well, why are they doing it? Shit, all you filled my city with drugs and guns. What the fuck else am I supposed to do?
Dude, Flint hasn't had clean water in how many years now? It's like 3 years. 3?
And I mean, all of the things that like our politicians, and this isn't like a right or left thing, they are all scum for this. Every single politician that has a microphone in their hand, what should be saying, why are we not fixing Flint? Why is this not fixed? And every single one of them is silent about it. Silent.
And didn't a lot of their politicians get arrested for corruption and still nothing gets done to the waters? Like, what the fuck, dude? Like, Like,
Oh, and that's the thing. Like, it comes to we were talking, like, one of the things we were supposed to talk about is Jeff Sessions. You want to invade fucking Florida, but you cannot fix the water supply in Flint. Or you want to invade California, but you can't fix the water supply in Flint.
yeah, the Attorney General. Yeah, we're going to get onto that about Jeff Sessions and Troll Man.
I mean, I wait for it. That every single one of these speeches, you know what I mean, of left wing progressives, you know what I mean, Democratic Party, DNC, we're revolution, blah 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 blah. Not a fucking single one of them mentions Flint. But every single one of them went and gave a speech there when they were trying to get elected.
Well, this is America's dirty little secret, you know. Like, this is, I mean, you sometimes, you don't see a lot of major coverage on it, but this is, it's roughly populate. How much is it? I think Flint has roughly around 40,000 people,
And that's the reason that they are shutting us down on social media, because the people that are talking about it are on YouTube or on Facebook or on Twitter, right? The corporate media isn't talking about those things, right? If you went, look, we went all day today, right? There is literally a genocidal war going on in both Syria and in Palestine, and yet nothing.
Yeah. Nothing.
It's not even happened. Every time the U.S. drops a bomb, that should be national news. We've now killed people. And even worse, Trump's the one. Trump. These are the people that are deciding who's going to live and die. That is a nightmare.
Yeah.
We were talking about, like, earlier, about conspiracy theories. I don't see a lot of the things that are going down. Our government will, as false flags. A lot of the things, our government will take complete advantage of a situation, but they don't particularly set it up. Now, that gassing in Syria, that has all the hallmarks of a CIA, of a black operation.
A black operation,
all the
yeah.
hallmarks. Every single one. We don't know where these chemical weapons came from. The U.S. and Russia are the only countries making them, so have your choice, right? The Russians had nothing to do with that, you know what I mean? It wasn't even blamed on them, so that's not really an issue. Assad didn't have chemical
What, it was
weapons.
sarin gas, right?
Sarin gas, yeah, doesn't have chemical weapons, you know what I mean? Didn't deploy any. It's obvious that they didn't do it. Right, we just have these magical chemical weapons, and then the whole video that went along with it, right? The children laying in the water, you know what I mean? The people running around that, I guess there's sarin gas, but nobody needs protective clothing, and they don't know that it's sarin gas until way after the fact, right?
Yeah.
You just know that there's a chemical thing. You would be in complete PPE, right? From head to toe, one of those yellow fucking spaceman outfits, because you don't know what's there. But these guys just have face masks on, and you see all of the things, just like we saw in Iran. Right, that the Iranians had went in, or that the Iraqis had went in and killed a bunch of Kuwaiti children. Right, they went into the neonatal ward and killed all of the kids were in there, and they had the same videos of the children and all that. And then it turns out, oh no, that's actually one of the daughters of one of our UN officials. And by the way, none of that actually happened.
Oh.
But they set it up completely like it did. If somebody was going to look into something that really was a false flag, that 100% was it. That has all of the hallmarks of a false flag. Now, that doesn't mean when something happens in America that our government, like the vultures that they are, won't immediately jump out of it and take advantage of it. Right? That's what they do. They'll take advantage of anything and anyone that they possibly can, especially if you're feeling emotionally connected to it or emotionally hurt because of it. They will jump all over that.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's one of the reasons why they shut us down, is because, look, out of the conspiracies that we talk about, one of the ones that we mentioned today is actually true. And you know what I mean? And chances are it's the most horrible out of that one, out of the ones that we've mentioned even tonight.
Yeah. I'm also wondering, speaking of conspiracy videos, I wonder if they took them, that one YouTube channel down, the Health Ranger, because of that forensic acoustic analysis of the Las Vegas shooter. I'm seriously wondering, because it was the only video that scientifically analyzed the audio recordings from that night, and basically prove that there was a second shooter.
Well, and I mean, that could mean a lot of things, right? Especially you've got a crowd that big in the middle of Las Vegas in America. Chances are somebody popped their gun off at one point or another during that, just in the fray of things going on. It's Vegas, so I mean that doesn't surprise me. The thing that I think is and there's a lot going on with every single one of these shootings, and it's almost impossible to weed through the political bullshit to get to some actual truth. But I think the real truth here is every single one of these shooters, right, has been on these antidepressants, right? The amount of soldiers that are committing suicide on these antidepressants, the amount all the way back to Columbine, guys. These kids were on those same antidepressants that cause you to be violent, that cause you to have these delusions, and yet it's the pharmaceutical companies. You know what I mean? There's nothing good going on there.
That's true.
That side effect warning.
Yeah. So I mean, and look, even on the warnings, they'll tell you, like, when I got out, I've got PTSD like everybody else that's served, right? All of us have PTSD. So they give you these pills, and I mean, on the bottle, the pill says may cause suicidal
thoughts
or violent thoughts. Well, what the fuck? I went in and told you that I was feeling a little down, and you gave me a pill to make sure I commit suicide. I think you got like what I wanted out of that wrong.
I hate to say this, a guy who helps people get off of drugs, but the marijuana therapy for PTSD seems to be.
Oh shit!
Seems
It
to be a
fucking
safe.
works.
Yeah, I was gonna say it seems to be the
like
same.
there isn't no like.
Yeah.
Oh, look, I'm not even at this point. When it comes to MS, when it comes to kids with seizures, when it comes to PTSD and pain, they're cannabis. It's not even debatable anymore. It is better than opiates.
You hear that, Jeff Sessions? You hear that?
It is better than the antidepressants that they're going to give you. You know what I mean? It might not cure every single disease that the dirty hippies tell you that it does, but if it cures one of them, we need to invest in it.
It's one of the few mind altering drugs that you can take out there that really that's just not a few. There's quite a few mind altering drugs out there that you can do indefinitely and not overdose, and marijuana happens to be one of the ones that has a lot of therapeutic.
And look, okay, first, like, people have been using as a painkiller since ancient times, right? The world already knows that cannabis works. On the other side, look, on a spiritual level, the India believes that cannabis was given to us as a gift for the gods for treating each other well. I kind of believe that. Right? It's a gift that our planet has given us that we have to take, that was given to us to take advantage of that.
Well,
it does.
It's weird.
And it's one of those, that it has, some sort of medicinal effects or whatever. The medicine that you are going to give me will get me to blow my head off.
Well, the weird part, the weird part about cannabis, I can explain this, like to a lot of people that, it's one of the few drugs, that the body tries to store as a nutrient,
But even if we take it as just a medicine for just people with MS, for just kids that are having seizures, I urge anybody that's on the line to this. There's lots of videos out there that are like, take the CBD oil, which does not have THC in it. You cannot get high off of it. Right? Take a couple of drops of it and watch these kids that, can't even, stand or in horrible pain, seizing on the couch, be able to play with their brothers and sisters. There was a man that did one that I posted the other day, and it's literally 2 minutes later. The guy can barely walk in the door. He's, he's, crumpled so much he can't open his hands. He's in physical pain. You can see it in him. Right? And he's never taken it before, takes 2 drops and lays down on the couch for a second, sits back up, is moving his arms and says, hey, do you guys want to get something to eat? And it was like unimaginable that it was the same person.
Yeah.
The same person. We helped several people. I think I'm going to change some things around here just to keep everyone happy. We specifically have helped people that have children that are really scared to go through and be, look, if you get busted, they're going to take your kids away. You know what I mean? If you get, any of those things, and we've went and set it up so that they can get the medicine that they need for their children.
Oh yeah.
In states where it's 100% legal.
You know what they've done?
But the deal is,
the DEA.
you know what I mean?
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, the DEA has, like, I didn't realize this until looking into this. Now, there were a lot of breeders or growers in Colorado that were producing high CBD, low THC cannabis sativa and indica, right? But I didn't realize that because of the emergency scheduling of the CBD oil, cannabidiol, I can never say it right. But I didn't realize that you couldn't legally take it from the typical marijuana plant that we all know and recognize. The only way you can do it legally now is through the hemp oil, which has which I mean you can get it, but like ultimately our own government is cutthroating a medicine because of some mumbo jumbo, right? And you typically want those high CBD oils content to come from a cannabis sativa or indica plant, not from.
But
Yeah.
it comes to look. I mean, look at what our government has done before. Imagine all of the millions and millions and millions of people that would have been saved with all of the shit that they said about stem cell research. Remember when stem cell research? We're going to pass laws. No
Stem cell research is so good. It's so good that they can repair muscle tissue damage, shit that you would normally need surgery for.
Everything.
Yeah.
And the scientific community was screaming this, and all of, you know what I mean? So many lawmakers came out and passed laws in the end to stop that industry. And look, they were 100% wrong. Because they're not scientists. None of them are.
Yep.
Like, I think we're having the first scientist run for office. You guys realize that Abe Lincoln is the only president to ever hold a patent?
Didn't know that.
The only one. And these are the people that are supposed to come up with ideas to fix our country. They've never came up with a good idea ever. But yeah, I see a lot of the stuff that the stuff that they're doing with cannabis. It definitely reminds me of all the things that they said about stem cell research.
Yeah, and
I mean, it was illegal. Remember when they sent feds to go and bust up medical places that were doing stem cell research, put people in jail.
They explained it the way that they were explaining it back in the I think it was late 90s, early mid 2000s when all this stuff was going on. They basically what they were saying is how that they were getting stem cells was from baby aborted fetuses. Or from the actual fetal tissue, which is not true. You can actually get stem cells, and this was such a controversy in how the laws were being done. Is that stem cells you can get them from your own fucking body. You just need to get your blood filtered. Now you only have so many stem cells in your body, but you can use the stem cells in your body to repair damage that has been done to you. Damage that has been done that would normally need surgery because a stem cell can turn into any other cell.
Yeah, and I mean, it's just it's crazy to see how these guys, these people have held us back for so long on so many issues, and marijuana is just one of them. And none of the things have came true, right? Is Colorado a haven for the drug war and all of the things that was going to cause the end of America? There was going to be violent gangs running wild through the streets, raping your children and dogs, and they went nuts. And none of that has happened. None of it. Washington's still here. Oregon's still here. Colorado's still here. California's still here. And none of the effects that they've told us were going to happen if we legalize marijuana have happened. In fact, the opposites have happened. Our schools have money, our streets are cleaned, our workers have pay, right? Like it's insane that they can still push this.
You know what's even weird? You know what's even weird is that because I it's a little TMI about me and my profession because I do work in the rehabilitation industry where we help people get off of drugs. But there was a lot of pushback on the legalization of marijuana from the lights, not from the actual industry and the therapists. Now that's something completely different. But from the licensing boards, like I'm like, well, they were concerned about addiction and addictionology, and I'm like, this is so like even the licensing boards were on this shit. So I was like, what the fuck? Pushback from.
Well,
Go ahead.
did you guys see the? It was the video of they busted all a bunch of places that had like gummy bears and shit like that. In a place where it was legal, they had some like edibles, and the cops that go out there and arrested them, they literally have no idea what they're arresting people for. They were asked questions about the drug. They have no idea about the drug. They have no idea about what CBD oil was, about what they had like absolutely no clue of what was going on, but yet enforcing a law that even they had trouble explaining. Well, it's legal here. Well, yeah, it's legal here, but not in gummy bear form. So are the gummy bears, did you find kids with them?
Oh, yeah. I remember hearing about that.
People with cancer.
That's
okay. Well, what did the gummy bears look like? Like these? Oh, no, those were some we got from the store. The gummy bears that we got are in a sealed package to keep children from getting in them. It was like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
man?
the whole gummy thing was they exactly what I was talking about. The CBD oil did not come from the cannabis sativa plant or the cannabis indica. They literally used hemp to produce the CBD oil, which was completely legal. And now those people that got the gummies taken away, they're countersuing the police department and the local governments for coming after them.
Oh yeah, which they should. And they were all like, one of the reporters are all like, but and he made a big deal out of it. Look, we're closing down every spot that's selling this. And the one reporters are like, but don't they sell it at Walmart? Are you going to be closing Walmart? And he says, well, we'll look into that. Yeah, I bet you will.
Oh God.
Yeah, it's a two-tiered system. I mean, they got to make winners and losers. There's no logic to it.
Well, yeah, you know what really needs to happen is that, and this is something in America that really has to be a deciding factor. Is that because there are tons of plants and drugs out there that have some real medical purposes. Some real stuff, and that has to become to the end of prohibition of drugs in general. And I'm probably going to get a lot of slack for this, but ultimately this would start with legalization of drugs and actually doing some real medical studies from non-biased doctors and scientists on drugs. And and the research is out there. There's tons of fucking communities out there. Specifically MAPS. I think it was in the Netherlands.
We have to remove the existence of a plant from the existence of addiction, which are not exclusive. The problem of addiction is going to exist no matter what drugs are there.
That's true.
You know what I mean? That's not. It's a problem in humanity, in the human being. People are going. So there are people that are going to be addicted to stuff, and whether putting them in jail, hurting people's families, destroying people's lives on top of an addiction is not helping, and that's all we've been doing. So I think prohibition in drugs is going to fail. I've done drugs in my lifetime. I've never felt the need to do heroin. You dig? Like, I've never felt the need to stick a needle in my arm. I've never felt the need because I'm not dealing with addiction. Where somebody that is dealing with addiction, it wouldn't matter, what was available. That problem is the addiction, not that this plant exists anywhere. And on top of that, there's all sorts of plants that you're right, that have real medical benefits that we're not looking into because we've got this closed-minded, I don't even know how to explain like the mindset of the people that are still fighting the drug war. Even the people that have been fighting the drug war, the cops that are in it have said, look guys, this is not working.
Case in point,
everybody that's looked at it has said this does not work. We have to do something else. And the places that I've been where there isn't a prohibition, so Amsterdam, Holland, Italy, even to some extent Germany with harder drugs, that they have, look, if somebody has addiction, they have a place where you can get clean needles, a place where you can get, whatever that is, and you don't see the poverty, the people with track marks up their arms, the diseases, the mafias and gang violence that goes along with prohibition, none of that exists. And you have to say, yes, we need to work on the addiction part of it, but if what we're doing is causing all of these other things to happen, we got to do something else.
Yeah.
We can't have a fix that's worse than the problem.
Yeah, what was I gonna say? Even the way they go about it, to try nonchalantly try and solve the solution. I've seen, the lawmakers do it is they try to incorporate. They've tried to incorporate a rehabilitation into the court system, but I'm like, I don't think
Well, and that's literally to look like you're helping out a
it really doesn't.
community.
Yeah, it doesn't. It doesn't benefit. It doesn't benefit the person. I mean, it does. I mean, I'm not going to say that there aren't people that have benefited from it. I'm not saying. I mean, altogether. But in the long run, what happens if you, because most addicts relapse, right? But if you, and it's just the nature. It's just the nature of they call it of the disorder. They call it substance use disorder or whatever specific case that they have, as defined by the DSM-5. But when they relapse, what would normally be no consequence, now they're getting 18 months, 6 months, 7 days, 30 days in jail. And I'm like, well, what kind of
And that's
yeah, what kind of fucking bullshit is this? Like, so like they're trying to get help and they relapse when they're trying to get help, which is kind of a normal process, and now you get jail time for. I don't get it. Really.
Yeah, if you say that if you said, "Hey, I'm an alcoholic and I relapse," people understand that. But if you say that, if you put anything else into that, they don't seem to understand it. When it comes to politicians, right? The we're working into the court system or whatever is to show the illusion that they care about communities, about people, but still be able to give as much money as possible to the prison industrial complex. Right? Everything has to work through the prison industrial complex. And that's like that has a lot to do with their decisions, their, the tactics that they use have to do with that their goal is not to get people off of drugs, but to fill prisons. And with drug addicts, it's not unknown. Drug addicts relapse. That's part of the struggle that they're going through. That to say, okay, well, you're going to relapse, and because of your misfortune, because of something bad happening to you, then we get to make these guys millions of dollars. How does that work?
Oh God.
We have anybody in the comments?
Oh,
People showing some love?
No, by
I shared it
love.
out. I shut it out. Oh no, I shared it out to a couple of places. Maybe they can share it. They can share their hatred with us.
Anything in the hate mail?
oh, here's one thing I wanted to cover. We covered. Here's one thing I wanted to talk about was Jerry Brown versus Jeff Sessions, and now what they're calling the war between federal versus state. So basically, there was an incident that happened about a week ago because the federal government has literally come after the California state, specifically with ICE and immigration, and what they're doing is specifically doing immigration raids. There was a mayor of Oakland that was a whistleblower and had told everybody that the immigration was coming. Now this has turned into a all-out Well, first it was some words were getting swapped around from people in politics from the state of California, and now the federal government is basically taking it to court with specifically Jeff Sessions is coming after the state of California over this shit.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, from my perspective, and I know that not all of us on immigration, but I do see a lot of correlation between the brown shirts and what they're using ICE to do now. That these really are Gestapo agents, and everybody says, "Why didn't you say something? Why didn't you stand up and say something?" Right? Every Nazi post you see says has on there, why didn't you stand up? Why didn't you tell them? I think it's great. Right? If you really don't believe in it, if you see it, the same way that I do, I'd speak out too. Right? I'm not going to have, Gestapo members rounding up brown people in my state. You're going to have to find some way else to do it. So yeah, I support him in what he did. What blowback will come from Jeff Sessions? I don't know. He's a very angry little man. I can see I can see Jeff Sessions. Look, has Jeff Sessions ever liked California? Can you imagine him chilling on the beach in Cali?
No, I can't.
Like, I have a sneaking suspicion he's always had a loathing for California. There's tall people with tans out there. I can't stand them. I bet you they're smoking weed.
He's something else, man.
So,
Like,
yeah, fuck Jeff Sessions. He's exactly what, like, he is pretty much like everything that we stand against.
well, I mean,
No, he's
states.
just a
I mean,
hateful little man in power.
seriously, the states have the right to make up their own laws, and federal government. The federal government doesn't. Well, specifically, Jeff Sessions doesn't think so. So it's like, who's right?
It's one of the
well, concerning the weed, but not the borders and immigration. That's a federal. That's one of the few things that federal people are supposed to do.
Yeah, that is within federal
No.
jurisdiction, but the states, that's on your own. The states don't have to support you in any way.
That's true.
And that's the that's a difference too.
No.
That's a difference too. Look, no, they don't. Like, local police
they
departments
do.
do not have to support you. You're welcome to build your own prison.
Yeah.
You're welcome to send your
Well,
G-men there.
well,
You're welcome to do all of that. But I don't have to put my state resources to you.
You can be as unconstitutional as you want, Terrence, but the fact that's not how it works. That is one of the few federal functions that he's supposed to be doing.
Well, that he's
So,
supposed to be doing, or the federal
is
government supposed to be doing?
Does California want to abide by their compact with the government or not? That's all. If you can answer that question. If they don't, and you want to run your own show, then secede.
Well, and do you have to succeed, or as as a human being, can I say, look, your Gestapo aren't allowed in my state. You're going to have to make rules that don't involve Gestapo.
Well, I mean, that's literally what that's. I mean, a lot of subjects. It seems that California is not in congruence with a lot of the stuff that the federal government is saying. And you're right.
Yeah, see, I don't think that you would have to, you know what I mean? That it's flipped a little bit, but exactly with the slavery issue. The Constitution says that you have to protect our borders. The Constitution doesn't say that you can send large groups of armed men to harass innocent people. There's such a difference between those two.
Yeah, but they're illegal immigrants. You're missing the
but that's something
illegal
that we've
part
just
of it.
decided. That's something that we've just labeled like now.
Oh,
to
it's
say,
been
okay,
on the
well,
books for a while. I mean, it's what set of laws do you want to abide by? What country? Or do you want to have your
Why
own
do
set
we
of
send
laws?
armed groups? Why do we send armed groups of Gestapo for Mexican immigrants, but not people that were without papers from Italy?
Mhm.
No, they went after the Salvadorian. They went after a lot of people. They went after a lot of people, though. I mean, just to be fair, they went after the Salvadorians. They took away
Well,
their.
all the brown people. I mean, I agree.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, there's going to be, there's more of them here. I mean, that's why we got to get rid of them. I mean, there's, of course, 80 or 90% are going to be brown people because that's who's. illegally.
Well, that's, I mean,
Now, see, where California has it.
Europe isn't in flames anymore, right? So people aren't leaving Europe like they were before, right? If or Europe starts starving, right? The Irish that were coming over here when they were starving were in that same situation. My thing is, where do we say, you know what I mean, that somehow if you immigrated here in 1940 as a starving person from Europe, it's okay and we're super proud of that. But if you immigrate here from Guatemala and a starving person, we are no longer proud of that. You are illegal. Like every single one of our grandparents came over here without asking anybody.
Yeah, that's true. My
And
family's
the
not from this country.
the idea of well, what makes you okay? Well, you're illegal. You're here illegally. I don't see that. Now I realize that the world without borders is not realistic, right? That's not something. But in actuality, that is the truth. I live on the entire planet.
Yeah, you can go anywhere as long as you abide by. I mean, there's a process for all this that's in place. Other countries do the same thing, Terrence. I mean, that's what I'm getting at. You know, it's not like the United. You know, where we went wrong is we didn't enforce it along the way where other countries do. Now we look like the bad guy because you let it go on so long, and now you're finally deciding to crack down a little
Well,
bit.
and it does
So
have a
you
lot
gotta
to
admit
do.
to it.
It does have a lot. No. Look, I mean, it does have a lot to do with the people that they're focusing on, right? Why is it illegal to be Mexican here now, but it wasn't illegal to be Italian here then? You know, we don't talk about our grandparents as illegals.
Are you talking?
Well, a lot of them came in under whatever framework was there at the time.
Which was
Yeah, no, I mean like the Polish. No, I don't like the Polish that came here. You had to be sponsored. You had to have that you weren't coming here and getting on the dole, loading up the system. That wasn't the way.
Those were the exact excuses that they used. Remember that the Polish were too stupid to come into America, right? The test that they had to be on to come in as a Polish person, right? You had to take an IQ test. And if you weren't smart enough, right, if you couldn't read in the languages that they give you, if you couldn't do the test, then they wouldn't let you in. But that's because the thinking of the time was there was no love for Eastern Europeans in America. Right? They did say that about the Polish. They did say that about the Italians. They did say that about the Irish. Right? They're bringing in gangs. They're violent. They're having big families. They're just going off of the, they're drunks, right? They're just going off of the, they're just sucking our country dry. These are all things that have said about every immigrant group. And yet, like, we don't see that is being like pursued now.
Well, I don't see the majority of the people that they're going after. I don't see them as dangerous people, and I don't see what I don't see them doing is I don't see them getting any. There are opportunities to legally do this, but how realistic is it to the person who's trying to do it? And how many weird situations are people in where they're trying to.
No, I can see. Look, and this has a lot to do with closing for this. Don't get me wrong. I don't have. If you say, look, we just the culture of our country right now, I don't agree with it. But the culture of our country is we want stronger borders. But we've always had look. Once you're here, you're an American. Right, that's part of being an American. We're all that way, right? The place is named America. You can't say, hey, I want to do something about illegal immigration in a place called Los Angeles.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, see now, here's the thing.
The name of the state is New Mexico. There's probably Mexicans there.
Well, actually, Los Angeles was part of the Mexican territory, and Los Angeles was largely a farm owned by the Sepulveda family, who were Mexicans. So,
well, I mean, and there was a lot of. I mean, my thing is, look. There's no difference between my grandfather and somebody that was coming here right now. Now, I agree with the criminal aspect. If you guys want to send those fucking ICE agents to go hunt down some bad motherfuckers, go nuts, right? But that's not who they're arresting. You know what I mean? You're going in and arresting fathers. You're going in and arresting people that are busting their ass, working to be American, probably much more patriotic than any of us are. Right? To come here and have a better life, which is the thing that is promised of being American. Germany doesn't promise its immigrants a better life. Germany doesn't say send us your poor. Germany doesn't have the Statue of Liberty. Right? So when we put ourselves, look, we had that conversation. Sweden is more than welcome to say, look, Sweden has never been open to everybody. Right? We've always been Swedish. If you don't want to be Swedish, you got to get out. Right? That makes sense. But this is America, the great melting pot. Right? We got a plaque to it. Our symbol is the Statue of Liberty. Right? Is a symbol of immigration. It just seems odd to me that we pick this group of people that we just don't like you in the country no more. But I do agree on
wait a minute. Where is anybody being picked out here? We were talking in general terms about illegal immigrants. Now that's not color specific or race specific in any way.
That's true, but because you've put the cutoff of what makes you an illegal immigrant by this last little, couple of decades, it changes where your immigrants are coming from. When Europe was in flames, when Eastern Europe was in flames, right? When Ireland was starving, that's where our immigrants came from. And when those things were happening, we were not happy with those immigrants. Right? They said all of the same things that they say about Latinos now. Right? We weren't, you know what I mean? We weren't open to them in that way. We said all of those horrible things. But the fact is, those are our grandparents.
Yeah, but they were legal immigrants. That's the difference. That's the problem progressive liberals have. They don't understand the difference between legal and illegal.
Right, I understand that, but we've made that law arbitrarily. Like it's a statement that we say, okay, now you're illegal. Right, but we don't talk about our grandparents as being illegal, do we? My grandparents, there was no papers to fill out.
No, my family came here on. They were. What's that thing when you leave when you're a political. You leave a country because
asylum.
Political asylum.
Well, they ran from a communist country. I don't know what it was. I don't know what that actual term is.
So you came under some visa,
Well, it was that they were here as political refugees. There you go, for refugees.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which in a lot of countries have opened their arms to refugees, and I'm just there. Look, there is no doubt there is a racial component of this. Right, like we can't ignore the fact that America does have is racism. We can't exist in a system that we know is inherently racist and then not expect them to make racist decisions.
Well, where's the
like
race?
I said, we take pride in
it doesn't
immigration.
say white illegal immigrants. It doesn't say black illegal immigrants. It says illegal immigrants.
Right, but the only ones that we're planning. But that's the deal. The only ones that we're rounding up are the brown ones. But those are because those are the people that we've picked to be illegal. But we've put that term on there.
Well,
it's not a real thing other than we're making the laws. They're laws made by men. They're definitely flawed and in this case wrong.
But if you pass state laws for weed in California, you're making laws, but that's okay. You just arbitrarily made that law up as well.
Well, yeah, guaranteed. And there's laws that we can make that throughout through the time that as time goes on, they seem completely rational and they seem to be on the right side of things, right? The abolishment of slavery. There are plenty of laws that tell you have to be a slave, but we don't. Those laws are not do not stand with humanity. We are moving to a time when our laws do have to stand with humanity and not just in arbitrarily designating something and then following it.
California is arbitrary. On the one hand, they're right on weed. See, they should be able to do it under state law. There's no federal jurisdiction there, and yet they can't do it. But California is in their stance in doing it there. Where they get it wrong is where they flip, and then all of a sudden, well, we don't want to follow federal law over here, but wait a minute, we have another context here. You're supposed to follow federal law in that instance. You see what I mean? I mean, they in one instance they do it wrong, the other they don't, and
that is definitely
in liberal land out there, they like just doing what they do. California is impressed with themselves. But the
Oh yeah,
reason,
and I'm
they
not,
flip flop right there. They're not
and
consistent.
I'm not in any way like, look, like the politicians that are running California are just as corrupt and just as backwards as everyone else. At the end of the day, the only reason that they give a shit about any sort of immigration issue is because they're hoping for Latino votes, right? The state is overwhelmingly Latino at this point. That's it, right? They don't actually give a shit about them at all. And that comes to do with, it's like, look, okay, we have an immigration problem. People are going to have to figure out a way to solve it without sending Gestapo to your house. And our leaders are unable to move past anything that doesn't entail that. If I can't send heavily armed men with guns, right, to oppress my will on you, I've got no ideas. And that's really my biggest problem. Whether we need to have a conversation about immigration is fine. But with any of these situations, there is no reason that you ever need to send heavily armed people to people's houses that are doing their job, that are just living their life. Right? And there becomes that pursuit of happiness. There's other parts of being American that aren't true to the law that's followed throughout the country.
Yeah, but they're citizens of another country. They're here illegally. You're scrambling up how this works. They're
Well,
here
they're citizens.
and
They
they're
are
citizens of another
Mexico,
country. That's right.
but I don't get to
They
choose being. I don't get to choose being born in America. I don't get to choose where I'm born. Nobody does. It's lucky
Right.
that we were born on U.S. soil, but that's just luck. I don't deserve any rights to anything else because I was born in a certain spot. And because I'm born here, you have to starve. Because you weren't born here. And this is where the food's at. And that's where I see it. If there was somebody at your doorstep starving, if there was somebody in your doorstep that's like, look, my house is burning down, you would open them with arms no matter where they were from. But because they're on the other side of the state, they're no longer those same people. Where I see a family that walked thousands of miles through deserts and armed mercenaries and drones and now has to work a shitty ass job just for the dream of being in America. I can respect that. That's part of being American. We've never been law-abiding people. This is the wild, wild west. If I don't feel that I can stand up and say, yes, that is the law, but I feel that the law's wrong and I feel that it's being forced wrong.
Well, yeah, what I was reading about this, immigration, standoff between California and the federal government, from all the articles that I've read, is that the courts might shoot down the Senate Bill 52. Um, so
Well, I mean,
Is
I
that
think, like I said,
California Senate?
I think that,
yeah, the bill,
yeah,
yeah,
I mean,
the sanctuary status. I mean,
I agree with what he did in that the tactics that they are using are more than draconian, right? These are Gestapo-like tactics to, to zero in on a selected group of people.
what doesn't make sense to me though is like Chicago has had sanctuary status for almost 2 decades, but California did this recently, and the raids are coming to California. Like,
Well, he's been trying to. I mean, they've been messing around with how exactly they can send federal troops to several states. When they first came out, they were playing with it as well. That he wanted to send the Trump administration wanted to send the National Guard into to Chicago. They've been playing around with how exactly to make this, a more effective police state without raising alarms.
most of the immigrants, that are there, because I used to live in Chicago, is like you have a lot of a lot of immigrants that are just kind of from all over the world, and you don't hear about the raids that are out there.
You have nobody to talk. You have nobody to tell. You have nobody to talk to.
Well, there's a lot of Polish and Russian immigrants and people from Eastern, from the Baltic countries, and you don't hear about that, but you hear about a lot about it in the news that coming specifically, Latino people in California,
And my thing is, look, there are some really bad people in this world. Why are you not using ICE to find them? Look, that's fine. You want to get the bad dudes out. Get the bad dudes out. But find some bad people. It's always.
No, but California protects them. I mean, you can't. If they did want to pick up some bad guys in California, you couldn't do it.
Well, I remember there was a point in time where you went to jail. You went to jail in California as an illegal immigrant. You did your time in the jails, and then you went to a detention center, and then got deported. But I don't know how it works now.
Yeah,
You
I mean,
go to San
I
Quentin.
always have the fear when those lines start going together. You know what I mean? Eventually, you never leave the detention centers. It's just cheaper to deal with you there. I mean, these are for what reasons they're implementing them. I think is blinding ourselves to the reality that look, they're locking all of us up. This is turning into a police state. Right? It doesn't yes, right now they're arresting, you know what I mean, a majority of Latinos, right? But they're arresting everybody. They got to almost a limit with the amount of black people that they could put into prison, right? Because now you're looking around and you're looking like 1 out of 3. Wait a minute, this seems like you're putting us all in prison. Right? And that I mean it got to that point when you're looking at, you know what I mean, 3 out of every 5 people is going to prison. Right, it gets it starts looking like what it really is. And my thing is, when have one of these government agencies that starts like this ever stopped? Right, the military-industrial complex, it's never enough. Right, when do you think if they everything went their way, and they they arrested the last illegal immigrant after they spent all of those trillions of dollars and bought tanks and body armor and trained all of those thugs, you think they're going to stop and send them all home? Or you think there'll be another group they're coming from?
There'll be another thing for them to go.
There always will be another group, and if they section us off into these little groups, they can get a lot done before we realize what's going on.
I mean, a lot of the stuff that's coming out of the Trump administration, now is, I just see bad things ahead. Like this. I just want to jump ahead. Specifically, jump off the immigration status. But let's move on to this new steel and aluminum tariff that's going on. And I remember Trump saying before he got into office that he would bring back jobs. He said he would do this. He's doing exactly what he said, but his own financial advisor resigned because of this. And specifically, if you understand, like I was doing a little research into this today. Like, I didn't do a hell of a lot, but I do know a little bit enough to talk about it. Like, a majority of America's steel is not coming from America. It's not mined here. It comes from Canada, right? So that's a tariff right there. So you've already created. It's a 25%. Now somebody on CNN said that the tariff would affect it this way. He said that it would add only to $175 onto the price of a car. That's not fucking true. A 25% tariff on all steel and aluminum products would turn a $27,000 car into a possible $35,000 car. So I don't understand how this is going to benefit anybody in the long run. What this turns into is America has had its prime. A lot of countries have come into this where they have surpassed their manufacturing capabilities and have literally fucked people over. But at the same point, you have developed an economy that has become more global and then brought the resources back. But how do you undo that without fucking everybody in the process? I just don't think this is the right way of going around it.
Well, I mean, some of that is done through negotiations and trade. I mean, I think one of the problems is, look, Trump is a real estate developer and a you know what I mean, a TV celebrity, and yet we somehow expect him to know how economics work, how war works, like you hired a guy that has no skills in any of these areas. These are the kind of problems when you have somebody that's in no way qualified to actually lead a country. Because before you would come out and make a statement that you're putting on those tariffs, that you're putting on that, you would have people that know how these things work to ask. And it doesn't seem like he has that filter, mostly because they've all quit.
Well, I don't understand. Like, skyscrapers or most buildings, you need steel beams. The steel was most likely, if a majority of what I read is right, would come from Canadian steel. Okay, so you're talking about a ton of steel is roughly, $500 to $700. Okay, so you get one of those beams, it's going to cost you what, an extra. So you had 25% to 700. You've now turned it into $1,125 for each one of these beams. You've just created a problem in the building sector. Now, a lot of people that build buildings will be like, I need more fucking money because there's, you know what I mean? Like, this doesn't benefit.
Well, yeah, it's gonna
And like
it's gonna
most
cost Americans.
CEOs, he gets paid a huge amount of money to not know how to do stuff. Right? He's not importing the steel. He's not doing all of that. He just stands for the photo op. Right? But we expect CEOs to be more skilled in anything other than answering the phone.
Does he, like I'm seriously debating, this is something he said that he was going to do, and he spent a lot of time thinking about it. But like in reality and the implementation, like when you do a lot of research into something, you implement something, you know the ins and outs, you know the supplier, you know where it comes from, and you know that this deal just it's not going to benefit anybody. In fact, so much that investors in the stock market, they're literally selling all their fucking shit. Like, this is not.
Well, I mean, every time I mean, it's great in some senses, but I mean, just every time he comes out and says something, it really does have the opposite effect, and a lot of that has to do with, look, you just really don't know how to drive stick, man. Like, I hear you grinding through all the gears, and I know you talked a big game, and you know the idea of how it should work, but dude, you don't know how to drive stick. And that's like something that people are just now, I don't know, coming to terms with. There's nothing that Trump has done better to alienate his own base than himself.
This is not
Well,
going to.
especially with that Second Amendment and the due process comments. I mean, he lost me on that one. You know, he's another piece of trash as far as I'm concerned. I'm done with him. You know.
Like,
I mean, really, what does this guy stand for? Yeah.
Like, I hate to say this. I hate to say this, but I kind of miss Obama because like I don't remember all the fucking like Obama did some really bad shit.
No,
but this is kind of
I won't go there.
I don't know, man.
I won't go there.
I can't do it.
The thing there's okay. Trump saying stupid shit and doing stupid shit is no surprise to me. It doesn't affect me on a personal level. I worked for the Obama campaign twice. You know what I mean? I believed in the guy. And he knowingly bombed children in other countries.
That's true.
He started these drone programs. He knew about the spying program. He didn't do shit for us at Standing Rock. He didn't legalize marijuana, right? He immediately bought off the banks. I personally, right, feel fucking like betrayed by Obama. As a person of color, I feel betrayed by Obama. Right? And it's I get upset when people look. Trump is horrible. But the things that the Obama campaign did behind the scenes, or didn't do behind the scenes, but then still came out and smiled at my face, right, really, really bothers me. Right? The fact that you were the head of the most powerful military, Secret Service, CIA, NSA, FBI, and white supremacist groups that blow up and shoot up churches still exist in America? You gotta be shitting me, dude.
Yeah.
You will send people to infiltrate peaceful protesters and support an oil company, but you can't do anything about white supremacists in America. And this isn't like it's a terrorist group that's, just sitting there and having Bible study and talking smack, right? These people murder innocent people in churches, right? Have murdered millions of people at this point, and you didn't do nothing about it. Nothing.
Well, they kind of took care of the KKK. And there was a branch there in Michigan that got stomped on real hard. That was kind of the end of it. I think that was in the middle or late 90s. And ever since then, that's kind of the end of it.
We've got a terrorist group operating openly inside of America, a well-known terrorist group, and has killed millions of Americans.
We had Charlottesville.
Yeah, and you put up, I mean, look, our first black president that didn't get anybody out of prison, right? Didn't stop carpet bombing brown people overseas, right? Didn't stop the racist prison system that we have. Like, what the fuck did you do?
Well, shuck and jive and
at minimum, right? Guantanamo is still very, very, very open and still very, very torturing people. You had 8 years to close that thing. And there's the deal with Guantanamo, that's the like poster boy for American torture facilities. We got torture facilities all over the US. Like there's deep dark holes that you disappear in and you never get back out of. They don't have names like that. He didn't close those ones either. Shit, there's a police detention center that literally just picks people up, right? Tortures them for a few days and then drops them back out of the street in Chicago. Weren't you a senator in Chicago?
Yeah,
Homan Square.
Yeah, I kind of like
Homan
I
Square.
kind of like debate him, even representing like from the South Side, because he ain't got nothing. He ain't got no connection to the people
not,
from
look,
the
man,
South.
you don't have to be from the hood to know that the fucking prison system is arresting black people. Are you serious? You know what I mean? Like, there comes a certain point where this shit everyone knows about.
Well, I never seen anybody groomed like he was. I mean, he went straight from an almost unknown state senator straight into the presidency.
Yeah,
I mean, it's just,
that was kind of
it's
weird.
just like, whoa, man, nobody does that, you know.
And enough that we didn't really truly understand what was going on until way after the fact, which was my fear with Hillary Clinton. Right? You won't see it. It's not like it is in Trump. My thing with Trump, I love Trump because the bottom line is, right, he's an enemy that does everything right in front of you. Right, you know what he's going to do. He told you he was going to fuck it up from the very beginning. Right,
that's pretty much what he did. Yeah, this tariff deal is exactly what he said he was going to do.
Yeah, when it comes to the Democrats, when it comes to the Democratic Party, right, the things that they do behind the scenes are what is truly evil. You know what I mean? Like, those are the things that it takes you forever to dig back out from underneath them.
Well, hell, it's all out this time, but I mean, nothing happens, Terrence. It doesn't matter what party does this. They stole it from Ron Paul in 2008. You know, it's just nobody gets in trouble.
Oh, there is no justice like that. The things, I mean, you look, even George W. Bush, man. Like, the world has now agreed, right? You totally lied and have now killed, like, literally 16 million people and destabilized the entire planet. Right, the refugees that are running to Europe are running from those bombs. This mess that you started, and all on lies. You made the whole thing up, right? And he's welcome to live his life painting horrible pictures in Texas. That's okay.
Yeah.
Oh well, hey, remember that secret, that secret spying program that we were running? Yeah. We totally shut it down. Okay, who exactly was responsible for that, and why are they not in prison?
Whose name was on the document, right? Who signed it?
Yeah. Just give us one. That's fine. You can be a fall guy.
Remember, they did that once in court. Remember with the Contra deal, they already have a fallback guy in case this all blows over. It's going to be somebody, and they're going to have political asylum as soon as they.
My like the one that drives me crazy is the Martin Luther King assassination. Right, the U.S. government has 100% admitted and paid, right, the King family for his assassination. Right? Okay, will you please put the person in fucking jail that put a hole through my husband? You know what I mean? Like, the most important civil rights leader of our time, somebody should really be in trouble for this, no?
Yeah.
Like, you admitted to it, you have the paperwork, you know who signed the papers, you know who said, yes, I would like him to be executed in front of everybody, right? But no, I guess they don't exist like that. Our bad. Yeah, remember all those Black Panthers that we kicked in their door and murdered in cold blood? I guess nobody's responsible for that. What were they doing? Looks like they were giving out birth control and starting food programs. Those fuckers. Free healthcare, communism.
Well, they were trying to. They were trying to protect themselves too. I mean, we're just not going to have that.
Oh fuck! Armed black people? This is a nightmare.
Oh, come on, yeah.
Put them all in prison if they've got guns.
Yeah, I mean, that's the United States Constitution does support a well-armed, militia. You know.
If you ask the NRA, they would have probably put some clauses in there that they didn't think of.
Oh, but brown people, yeah, I guess.
Yeah, obviously we did not expect y'all to get freedoms quite so quick.
Oh, speaking of the NRA, I just want to point this out. To all those ops that are out there DDoSing the NRA website, you guys haven't really done anything. Like you DDoSed the NRA. The NRA website.
Well, and it's important to note the NRA is extremely powerful, right? And they have bought a lot of our politicians, but it's only 1 out of every 10 gun owners that belongs to the NRA. Right? Most gun owners don't belong to the NRA.
Yeah, and
That's
and
right.
I've said this before the show. I mean, this might turn off a lot of people, but I am pro-gun, and that doesn't make me a Republican or whatever. But for the reason I am pro-gun, because I understand what the Second Amendment truly is, and it really is protection of you against the government. It's not you protecting yourself against some homie down the fucking block.
Yeah, I mean, and I think we spoke about this before. Look, you're not going to stand up against the U.S. government when they show up with a tank and fucking dapple mercenaries and Tiger Swan and fucking SEALs and Apaches and drones and all of that. But being armed does mean that you can bury those in the woods, and when it does go all the way to tyranny, you can continue a guerrilla action to bleed your enemies to death. That's what America does. That's how we beat the English, right? That's how we deal with with tyrannical governments. That's why we have guns. Now, if you notice on both sides of this equation, no lawmaker is coming out and saying, okay, why don't we just make a law that says we can't use military force against our make it the last amendment. The U.S. government cannot use military force against civilians.
I thought that they did.
Posse Comitatus was supposed to take care of it.
Yeah, but
they kind of blow that off.
Yeah, they found loopholes around that. They can hire mercenaries to do it for them. Yeah.
With these assholes, you got to be extremely precise.
Yeah, you got to define it on a legal level,
Yeah, you have to really define it and make it so it doesn't have loopholes in it. But yeah, just make a law that says that all of these all the people that are on the Democrat side, all the people on the why would you be against a law that would keep the U.S. government from using military force against its civilian population? That should be something we should all agree on, right?
You think?
People would be much more willing to give up their guns if they had an amendment that said you cannot come into their house, steal their shit, and shoot them, because that's kind of what y'all been doing.
Well, there are a couple amendments saying that, but they don't listen. They don't follow the Constitution, man. That's like a joke.
I think
that's the problem,
Yeah, in actuality, it truly is. It truly is. Our government does view the Constitution as something that Americans hold on to, but that they're no obligation of upholding.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
If you look at
technically, the United States Constitution is in a legal term has been upheld. It's what is it, Preston? What's the correct term? It's since 1880, right?
Oh, the Crown Swiss bar contract, the corporate. Yeah, when he turned into a corporation in 1871, things changed. Yeah. Admiralty law and so forth.
I mean, a broken clock is right twice a day. Andrew Jackson was a heartless, genocidal psychopath. But when it came to the Fed, when it came to the U.S. being a corporation, which is why I thought it was so interesting that Trump picked him as being his favorite president. Because you obviously, with your love of the federal government, you obviously have never read anything.
I don't think he knows. I literally think that Trump has the intelligence of maybe 12-year-old. I hate to say maybe.
Well, I mean, look. He's as into it as a spoiled little rich kid can be into it.
That may be it, because he flip-flop. I can't figure out what he really stands for, and the whole gun and due process thing was a great example.
Well, he's from New York. New York has extremely strict gun. New York has extremely strict gun laws. It's one of those. George Bush did it too. He would tout himself as somehow being a cowboy and all of that. Not that you're from the Northeast, right? He can't even ride a horse. Right, but he comes
from Connecticut.
You
come down here to Texas and act like a cowboy hat and the boots on, and all of a sudden you're from Texas, man. I mean, people down here bought that shit. It blows me away, man.
But he
professional
did it.
Texas from Connecticut, huh?
Yeah. Complete with an accent, and you were all like, dude, you guys are all from. Where did you get a Texas accent? You moved down there till you were 40. right? I've been in New Zealand quite a bit the last 10 years. I don't have a New Zealand accent. Well, because I'm American, you know what I mean? It doesn't, what he came down there and immediately he's like a Rick Perry impersonator. Right? But
Oh yeah, his
they
dad's
all do that.
yeah.
Trump did the exact same thing. All of a sudden, he's a good old boy. You know what I mean? He's never driven a pickup truck his entire fucking life, right? But yet he's now this gun-toting right-wing, you know what I mean, Republican, and he's a rich kid from fucking New York. Are you kidding me? He don't give a shit about you.
It just yeah, I mean, it blows me away honestly how he's turned these rednecks into thinking he's a New York line Democrat liberal, and you convinced all these fools that he's a Republican outsider, and they believe it.
And I don't
It's
like
where
even
were
like,
you in
okay.
the 1980s and 1990s, man? Did you forget that? Whoa, what happened?
It makes no sense when you it really it doesn't, because look, the right wing, although there's a lot of ideologies that I don't agree with, right, their move, and Alex was big in this, I think that he's been gotten to, if you want my honest personal opinion,
Oh yeah.
is to discredit that whole line of thinking. But when it came to the 1%, when it came to the Illuminati, right, when it came to the puppet masters, right, the big banking corporations, they were all over it. The FEMA camps, the arrest, and I think a lot of it they didn't understand. When they were building those camps, they thought that they were meant for, you know what I mean, for them. They were actually meant for their Mexican neighbors. But the camps, what they were upset about, were still there. The 1% puppet masters that they were on that line to, all of a sudden you elect a guy that's a billionaire. Do you really think he's the only billionaire on the planet that's not connected to that? You know
Yeah,
what I
they
mean?
do,
Like,
man.
at one
That's
point, like,
it.
he
I mean,
was
it's
everything
incredible.
that they were talking about, and then you notice he never comes out and talks about the fucking puppet masters anymore.
Yeah,
You know
that's
what I
true.
mean? Like, none of that even train of thought exists,
Now,
because you're
now
a
it's all pro
billionaire.
Trump, pro Trump, pro Trump,
Yeah,
pro
those are
Trump.
your
Well,
friends. Look at his pictures.
he's
Look at
a
all the murals that
shill.
he's in
Yeah, that's
with
Alex
Hillary,
Jones
with
decided he wanted to shill for Donald Trump. He made a conscious decision, and he's still doing it to this day. And he's going to
yeah.
look like a
I don't.
fool when this guy lets him
Like, at
down
this
because he's
point.
already doing it.
Well, and what bothers me is I like, when it comes to Alex, I really like some of his old stuff. I know I've said it on this show before.
Oh yeah.
If you guys look, he does an interview with David Duke, the head of the Klan back in the 80s and 90s. You know, how the white supremacist movement, the kind of new, clean. That's really where this, the torch carrying Ken doll cutout came from, is from this dude David Duke. You know, he wasn't the hat wearing, you know what I mean, racist, the hood wearing racist. He was, you know what I mean, he looked like an average office worker. But Alex Jones does an interview with him, and he tears him apart. Right? I mean, right away. I mean, from the, you know what I mean, from the Jewish things to, I mean, just from one thing to another, he destroys him. And I really wonder where that Alex Jones went. The same with him, going to Bohemian Grove, and I mean, he was into some real shit. Into really sticking his nose into some of the alien stuff and technology, and he had this guy that was called Captain Crunch, a hacker from the 80s. That would come on his show and give him all sorts of good stuff. He was on a completely different line, and now, like, I don't know what's going on.
He's made a
Personally, I
deal
think
with the devil. That's what he's done,
brain
and
slugs,
it's going to.
brain slugs.
Yeah, he's sold himself. He saw an opportunity to leverage up by doing this, which he's done. But I mean, I can
Yeah, I
promise
mean,
him it's
I
going
would
to
be. Why
backfire,
aren't
man.
we getting
It
any
just
more videos?
backfired, the last couple of weeks, because he's not a conservative. He's not a constitutionalist.
Mm.
And so whatever all these people thought they had, behind him, he's not there. That's not who Donald Trump is. He's a New York progressive liberal
And I
who
think, like,
only 20
what you
years
said
ago
there.
was chumming up with the Clintons. I mean, everybody forgets all these parties where he was at the Clintons. It's just like, did you forget that? I mean, what happened?
Oh, the Hollywood elite, like, that's the deal. Like, they completely have, but I think some of it is the words have been completely demonized. To be progressive, even for people that are progressive, right? The progressive name is now with neoliberals has now been completely tainted with the same corporate bullshit that's everywhere else. On the side of conservatives and Republicans, they are not standing in any way, shape, or form for what being a conservative or being a Republican stands for. They're just the demonized word of it now. Where conservatism, when you were talking small government, I'm like, yeah, fuck yeah, we can do away with the NSA altogether, right? We can probably make the CIA much, much smaller. Those thousands and thousands of bases used to try to start wars in other countries, we can do away with all of those. These conservative things I completely agree with. You know what I mean? When people say, look, I agree with what it says in the Constitution, and that is fucking it, man. That's what the law of America is. That I can agree with. But what conservatism has came now that is this like weird warmongering racism, you know what I mean? Like almost caricature of what the elite feel that poor white people look like. That really bothers me. Uh-oh, I think I may have went too far.
Oh no, I'm here.
Yeah, it's like our world has been broken into, you know what I mean? Oh, well, the word, like what liberal means and what liberal, the term, you know what I mean, is explained now is so different.
Yeah, they keep changing the definitions.
Oh, they have, but they're really good at it. Like language is something they are extremely good at using. We're not torturing people, right? These are enhanced interrogations,
No,
right?
they're
We're not killing children with these bombs, right? It's collateral damage, right? These aren't. They always have a new word. I'm not lying to you, right? These are alternative truths. Right, they are very good. We're not hiding money overseas as a tax haven. This isn't money laundering. This is inventive accounting practices.
It's a charity. I mean, it's a 501c3. I mean,
yeah, there's laws against
just because
money laundering.
96% of it goes to ourselves, but hey.
Hey,
Yeah,
shout out to our Russian viewers. I guess we're popular in Russia tonight.
Oh, nice.
All right, man. Yeah.
Здравствуйте, как дела?
Anyway, go ahead.
Меня зовут Terrence. I'm happy to meet you. Welcome. I speak a little Russian.
And all that,
I'm sure that all of our CIA and NSA handlers are now going nuts.
You just messed up their whole day.
He just spilled his.
It's
that old guy in the corner office. He just spilled his coffee in the back of the CIA office. He just.
Yeah.
Like, whoa.
What, Anonymous is talking? What the fuck?
Talking with the Russians. We got him.
See on all of the corporate moves on the corporate news, right? Anonymous working with Russian spies.
Yeah, your channels are going down, Tyler. They're going down, man.
Yeah. No, that's fine. If your question was, would I work with Russians to undermine your oppressive, corrupt government? The answer is yes. Of course I would.
You know what's funny is,
are you saying that you would work with Russians to keep Hillary Clinton from getting elected? Yes, that's exactly what I'm saying.
You know what's kind of weird?
Well, no, we're just following the Hillary Clinton method. If it's okay for her to sell uranium to the Russians, then it's okay for us
guys,
to have a channel on PK.
I'm not doing anything crazy.
I mean,
I'm not doing anything.
We're not doing anything like that.
Let's show them uranium.
And then,
and then freaking out that the Russians are making new nuclear weapons. I just can only imagine how that meeting went. So, you guys aren't going to use this to make nuclear weapons, are you? Oh no, we use uranium to make new nuclear power. You guys haven't built a nuclear reactor in like 40 years since that whole Chernobyl thing. Yes, you give me uranium now, I give you money.
Hey, if you fly a guy like Mueller to do it on the airport.
Loaded it out the back of the truck into their nuclear submarine missile or whatever that nuclear is.
No, even better than that. Did you hear about that story about Mueller was actually delivering the stuff to him on the tarmac at airports, like getting them
And
samples. I mean,
nobody
they
looked
were moving this
around.
stuff hard.
Nobody looked around and said, "This doesn't seem right."
Why
Like
is
on
the
our
Geiger
side, I'm
counter
sure the
going off?
Russians
Is
were
that
like
normal?
laughing their asses off.
Yeah. What's in that
Oh,
suitcase?
you have? Oh, wait, you have uranium? I'll meet you at the airport.
I have
So
vodka
now,
too.
Mr. Corruption, yeah, Mr. Corruption, Mr. Mueller, he gets to be the good guy now and look into everybody's Russian corruption. It's like, get the fuck out of here, man.
I wonder, did they show up in like
You're a list,
black
buddy.
black BMWs with like the trunks up? Yeah, just put it in the back. I wonder how the Russians kept from laughing while they were doing it. It's the same with all of our missile deals. You know, like we know the horrible things that Saudi Arabia does, but yet we almost like we take pride in selling them more weapons. Hey, you guys aren't going to continue the terrorist activities that you guys have been doing for the last 70 years, are you?
Not even that
Just
old.
before we sell you any more weapons, you guys aren't going to use these to like destabilize the Middle East and take advantage, are you?
Well, look at what they do. See the English and when Trump went over there, what's the first thing they do? The sword dance. Now, give me a break, man. That's like if you look in,
I want
that,
access
it's like,
to that
well, of
weird
course you're
little.
going to war. I mean, you're all on the same team. You're all doing the same.
I mean, 100%. And then like Trump standing over that little like oppression ball globe that they have.
Yeah, what's
First
all
of
that?
all, I've seen the inside of some of our really cool facilities. Why do we not have a cool world domination ball? That looks super cool. Like their like anti-terrorism unit is off the chain. How much American money did we spend on that?
I don't know.
Like not even close. The NSA's big black building doesn't have shit on that. They had like 3D screens and fucking VR touch and all. It was crazy. All to kill our own people. Cool. Super cool. Like, and nothing says you may be involved with people in globalist world domination like holding a glowing like orb of the world. Like that says it all in one set. A glowing ball of the planet that you can hold like that has never been used for good. Like nobody ever walks around in those. Like I said, with like delivering the uranium, none of the CIA agents that were saying there were like, Bill, this does not look good. What's gonna be
Does anybody lift a
when,
finger? I mean, it just
what's
it's
gonna
just
be great
incredible.
is if and when the Trump administration gets impeached. He probably won't be elected for a second term unless we run Hillary Clinton, which is totally possible. Democrats are that stupid.
Oh yeah, they are.
She pops up every once in a while. Like I don't even know. Like I'd say some sort of STD, but I don't want to talk down about people. You know about STDs. Like there doesn't
that's not
seem
fair
to be
to
a cream that
STDs.
gets rid of Hillary Clinton.
St. Thomas
Just
disease
when
is
you thought
bad.
you were safe. You think nah, we're good. I'm wearing condoms, and there she is, pops up on a toilet seat somewhere.
Pregnant.
Is that? It's like,
Oh
man.
I'll never get over. I'll never get over like the literally like the most callous thing ever said out of all of the things that are going on in black and brown communities. Your connection with black and brown communities is that you travel with hot sauce.
What?
That's what she said. She was at a dinner with some leaders of the African American community, and she's all like, "Oh yeah, I'm totally down with you guys. I even carry hot sauce in my purse." Fuck you. Like that's all I can like that is what you think the problems in black and brown communities are? Go fuck yourself.
You don't have enough hot sauce. Who knew, Terrence? I mean, man,
Wow.
that's incredible. That's high IQ right there.
And to be honest, I don't believe you not one bit. You ever seen Hillary Clinton with a piece of cornbread in her mouth? You ever seen Hillary Clinton out there eating collard greens? I have never seen. What exactly do you eat that hot sauce on? And I bet you she didn't even do any research. It was like straight Tabasco, which is wonderful, by the way. But that's not what you keep for when company's coming over. You got good hot sauce for that.
Well, whatever she can steal from the last spirit cooking, that's what she's got on her
It's
kitchen
ridiculous.
table.
It's ridiculous. And then, like, you guys know, I went from Puerto Rico, importing solar generators to go and see what I could do for Haiti. And I will never forgive the Clinton Foundation for that. Like, as long as I'm alive, I will never forget them for that. Like, it's absolutely insane that they literally walk away. They've got $2 billion that they walked away with, right, in profit that they made. And they didn't, I mean, absolutely, it's worse than nothing. You know what I mean? They not only didn't give Haiti anything, they took as much as they could away. You know what I mean? It's not enough. It's not enough to to say that you're going to come and help people, to take billions of dollars in donations to come and help people. It's different to take those billions of dollars and literally take food out of people's mouths.
Yeah, that's like that Creflo dollar. All they did is buy about 10 more jets with it. That's all they've done.
Oh my God. I'm going to stay cool. Trigger warning. That's every time on our post when someone mentions klepto dollar, there needs to be a trigger warning.
Well, they're in the same league, man. I mean,
I did not threaten to kick Cephalodollar's Dollar's ass. I would just like to say that, like, now. I am not like a violent person like that. I'm not going to walk up and punch Cephalodollar Dollar in the nose. I challenged him to a bare knuckle fight, mano y mano. Right? There is a complete difference than that. Little bitch. I cannot stand
it's
that.
just incredible that you would go to the poorest country that there is to rip them off. I mean, you're really malevolent, man. I mean,
what, stealing in the name of the fucking Lord? And he doesn't even hide it. Throw your money on stage. Because if there's one thing that God needs, it's more fucking money. Like, and even then, like, if you walked in and said, like, okay, right, Cephalo, homie, you guys are all Christian, yeah? So you and the Catholics both believe in God, yeah? The same God, yeah? The same Jesus, yeah. You don't think that God has enough fucking gold by now? Catholic Church been stocking that shit up forever. They got trillions of dollars, but yet you're getting poor people to fucking put money on the stage? What the fuck does God need your money with? So you can have a plane? If God wanted you to be on the other side of the planet, right, you would be on the other side of the planet. It's just, fuck, man, it drives me, I can't, there's so, like, he bothers me on such a level. Like, everything that is wrong with organized religion, he is there. And people show up in droves to suck up his lies. Like, if I was put on this earth to do one thing, it was to shut Cephalo fucking Dollar's ass down.
Well, the Clintons too, man. They're in the same league.
That is my one goal in life, right? And here's the deal, man. This is old school. This is biblical. You know what I'm saying? I am totally allowed to challenge your faith, right? And old school says we're allowed to duel. If God loves you, you will win this fight. But I can guarantee you, I'm going to kick my foot so far off in your ass, greasy motherfucker. I bet you he's watching this right now just sweating.
I was like, wait, didn't Moses do that shit once? No, fine.
I will, in a fucking heartbeat. This will be the immaculate ass whooping. January 1st. Be there. This Sunday. Anyway.
Need Morgan Freeman.
Yeah, we do him with fuck Morgan.
That's right.
I was going with the movie voice.
Sunday.
Oh yeah, just he deserves it in the worst way. And we're talking millions. I mean, all of these guys, they're fake prophets. You don't even have to believe in God. They're fake as fuck. Never trust a holy man that's wearing a fucking, shiny ass suit. He's standing under the fucking heat of the law in the Lord's house, sweating like a pig. That should be your first red flag right there. What does he do? The money rain. What does he do? Where everybody has to throw cash on the thing like he's a $2 fucking stripper.
What?
I cannot stand him. I cannot stand Cephalon Dollar. Motherfucker, anytime, dude. Anytime. I will smack the grease off of you. Nah, not getting any love. You watch tomorrow morning. I'm gonna have that cease and desist order. But here's the deal: I'm not threatening to beat his ass. I'm saying I've got an open venue, right? If you're a man, put your money where your mouth is. And you've got plenty of other people's money.
I'll put the word out there for you, Terrence, and on his Facebook.
Oh, he knows. He knows.
He does.
I get on there all the time just to fucking. I've been banned from all of his pages. I've been turned in. I got the cease and desist order from him a little bit ago. Fuck Cephalon Dollar. It's I don't give a shit. I'm not even in the country. You know what I'm saying? I will meet you in South Africa. I'll meet you in Australia right now. From what I heard, it's God's country. You ready?
Hey, he's got a jet to get there, no doubt about it. He's got several. It won't be a problem.
I'm taking that jet. It's one of those. I'm gonna beat his ass and take his shoes. That's how it's done. That's how old school this is. But look, I mean, this like I'm saying, this is old school. What he's doing is completely and utterly evil. Right? Using religion, and I'm a spiritual dude, using religion to take money from the poor for a private jet? Right? For your private house, for your yacht? Are you kidding me?
Yeah, where's like the Haitian government? I mean, or any of these governments protecting their people? I mean, you could track the money. You know it's not getting to you. Why don't they do something about it? I mean, it's just everybody just rolls over to this.
Well, I mean, some of it's in a U.S. bank. You know what I mean? He's a U.S. He's a church, so they don't pay any taxes. They get all that. You know what I mean? All the protection in the law from, somehow stealing from poor people makes you a church. So, I mean, he gets away with a lot of those things that, you know what I mean? The money, it's not like they gave it to him in cash at that, you know what I mean, at that point. It's transferred into his bank accounts and whatever.
Yeah, I just got to wonder about the amounts, too. I mean, that's like red flag. It's like, wait a minute, man. I mean, to get that kind of money together or coming in regular, I mean, how many millions of people? I don't see it.
And to be a holy person, you know what I mean? To be someone that's supposed to be a spiritual leader, and to take advantage of the people that trust you, right? That feel that if somehow they put their last $10 on the stage to pay for your private jet, that somehow that's going to help them, that somehow that's going to keep them from struggling, right? From being beat down, from being oppressed. And none of that is true. That dude is just taking your money and doing a little dance on stage with it. Like he's, I cannot, trigger warning. I cannot stand that guy.
Well, he must have learned from the Clintons. I don't know if he was, they're all doing the same thing. It's like okay to do now. As long as you say you're a loving liberal, it's okay.
Oh, you can do whatever you want as long as you put that on. Yeah. And when it comes to these nonprofits, Red Cross is better than the Clinton campaign, but just as corrupt. Why are we paying our CEOs $1 million a year? You're telling me that money couldn't go to get vaccinations to people? No, a drug lord had to take nurses hostage, which the nurses all said he treated them extremely well, and forced them to give vaccinations to the city that they were operating in, rather than hold them just really for profit. Right? Like that's what we've came down to. That's what the nonprofits is. And it drives me crazy, because if we just had a percentage of what they have wasted on nothing, right? What we had wasted on fucking Cephalon Dollar, right? What we had wasted on those guys. If we had just a little tiny bit of that, the amount of good we could do in the world. You know, and what Cephalo walked away from, I could give every person in the islands, right, fucking solar power. And I'm talking from Puerto Rico to Haiti in that same amount of money. You know what I mean? When you think, you know, he paid $120 million for that jet and he's got fucking 4 of them. If I went out right now and said, I've got $140 million, right, and I want X amount of fucking solar generators, companies would be bending over backwards to get them to me. And all you would have to do is come out on social media and just say that much. Look, I want to make sure that every single house in Flint has a water filter that actually purifies their water. Right? That's less than $50 million. Half of what he paid on that jet.
Yeah.
And that's supposed to be a man of fucking God. I'm like an all right dude. Yeah. But hey, if we ever get fucking lucky, right? Maybe Bunny Mayweather will set it up for us. You know what I'm saying? I will promptly whoop his ass at any time.
But I need a jet.
No, that's already happening, Cephalo. Right? I'm taking your jet. You're lucky I don't take your shoes.
Straight up hood.
Like literally just straight up strip his ass down. You don't need none. You didn't pay for none of this shit. The people did. I'm gonna go give it to the homeless guy outside. Fuck you. I told him there was a nice shiny fucking suit in here. I'm ripping it straight off of your ass. I'm gonna take it off before I beat you up, because you know what I mean. I don't want to get that sweat all over the fucking all over a suit.
Oh god.
Well,
Now we got to get at least one dig against Cephalo on there. He like I said, he knows I can't stand him. I don't have, you know what I mean. I don't have the influence and power that Klepto Dollar does. I also don't have such a good name, I guess. How did you not expect that dude to be to screw you over with a name like Cephalo Dollar?
It sounds like he's got dollars in his brain.
Some of it, like 99% of it, I'm gonna count as being his fault. You know what I mean? Like the serpent with a split tongue. 100%. He is the serpent that people are talking about. When you read in the Bible, right? When you read about false prophets, when you read about people that are being moved by Satan, being moved by evil, that is him. Someone that will take money out of poor people's mouths to line his own pockets are exactly what they're talking about. Right? Exactly. And he gets all of the benefits that being that kind of evil gives you. They're willing to do anything, right? You know, the mother that's putting that last $10 for your fucking jet up there isn't going to be able to feed herself. She'll feed her kids because she's a good person, right? She hopes that it gets better. But 100%, right? She's not going to eat that day so you can have a fucking jet. That's evil. And I'm not the kind of guy, like I said, I'm not a saint in any way, shape, or form, right? I'm an okay dude, right? But sometimes you gotta fuck some evil up. Nothing says get the fuck off my planet like punching him right in the face. And that's what Cephalo deserves. I'm not giving him an ass whooping. This is an exorcism. I'm whooping your ass in the name of the Lord.
You're gonna punch him in the face.
Look at that. I turn fucking water into wine. Just like that. It's literally gushing out your punk ass nose. But like I said, I'm not a saint. Right? I'm not a turn the other cheek kind of guy.
You're gonna have to come up with a cool gangster name though, or else
Terrence isn't enough.
No,
Terrence is gonna kick your ass.
It's not doing it. No.
I always because of all the technology. I've always went with the Wizard of Wellington.
Get a man a pool noodle and turn him loose.
Oh, I'd go. It's not even fair, and that's the deal. Like a lot of people that are on here don't know about. You know what I mean? Don't know this about me, right? But I was in martial arts all the way up until I was 25. Right? I was base champion several times. I was one of the winners of the Show Me State Games several times. I love it. You know what I mean? It's part of my daily. It's part of my daily, and you know what I mean? My daily routine. The ass whooping that his punk ass will get is of amazing potential, and not even realizing it. You know what I mean? Like I don't think if you know what I mean, he's smart enough to realize I don't think he'd get the fair fight that he was hoping for. I've been beaten in the ring, but not by the likes of him. No way. And this is really for just a horrible person that will never get the justice that he deserves. You know, the justice that he deserves is really not the ass whooping. It's to have all of that ill-get and funds that he's raised taken away. You lied. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, you take advantage of everyone around you, and that should be illegal. It's not, but it should be. And since Ireland still has bare knuckle boxing matches, you're welcome to join in. I'm rooting for you, to be honest, right? Like a lightning bolt, some divine intervention, but I have a feeling he's just gonna let me whoop your ass.
Where is he from
I think
exactly?
it'd be the only time Jesus turned into fucking pay-per-view.
Who's from?
Yeah, where's this guy Creflo from? I've heard of him, but I never really chased down what country he really operates out of or where he's from.
I don't know.
What's the address for hell?
I don't know. I don't see him. I mean, he's down. I mean, he's a bad guy. I mean, I just don't see him as being as bad as a Hillary or a Bill Clinton. I mean, you're there. You could be lying about the majority of your intentions and your religious outfit, because you obviously spend most of it on your jets. But the Clintons, I mean, it's the same thing. I mean, you're operating another fraudulent charity, and I mean, as far as fraud goes, I mean, it's far worse there.
Yeah, the Clinton group. The Clinton group is.
Well, I mean, look. Although I think there was a post there about her considering the ministry or something, and I honestly thought that was just a match made in heaven. I'm honestly surprised that they weren't already some sort of some sort of religious leaders for tax evasion. But what bothers me, look, we know that the Clintons are corrupt. They don't claim to be a spiritual leader, and I think that puts a whole nother set of morality. You know what I mean? Look, the Clintons are politicians. All politicians are corrupt. They're one of the more corrupt, but they're still corrupt politicians like all the other politicians. Cephalodollar,
yeah,
I guess.
It's a charity, though.
The way that all organized religion is corrupt. Give me money, and I'll talk to God for you. Is the basically thing. You can't do it yourself, right? God doesn't want to hear your voice. They need you to give me money so that I can do it for you.
Yeah, he only hears God's voice at 45,000 feet, apparently.
Yeah. Well, I mean, come on. That's just simple physics. You're closer.
Minimal.
Yeah. I mean,
you know what I mean? I'm sure when he needs a spaceship, he'll be right behind it as well. He'll be even. If I have my way, I'll launch his punk ass into the sun.
Wow.
What?
Whoa!
Did you guys?
I just lost. I probably.
That's a heavy keyboard, man.
Viewers off of just that. That little set there. Look, if somebody hates me for not liking Cephalodollar, too bad. That's something y'all just gonna have to know about me.
I have no idea who he is.
Oh, you know that stuff you scrape off your shoe when you step in dog shit?
Shit.
Yeah. Yeah, just straight up excrement. I can't think of the right kind. Weasel shit? What's the right kind of shit to describe Cephalodollar?
Fat that's between your toes.
Yeah.
Who the fuck named him Cephalodollar?
I think it's Creflo. It's Creflo.
His whole name is Cephalo Augustus Dollar, Because if there's one Caesar that was the best, it was Augustus.
Wait, he's from
His
Georgia, right?
teacher said.
Georgia, right?
Mm. What's that?
Isn't he from Georgia or some
I
shit?
don't know.
This is saying College Park, Georgia,
Oh,
where there's never been a sleazy preacher out of Georgia. That's for sure. He's got to be the first.
Damn.
I think that's where they make. I used to live in Georgia. That's where they make sleazy preachers. Oh, here we go. Cephalodala, Dalla, his book, The Holy Spirit, Your Financial Advisor. Wow. Wow. Because if there's one thing that God loves, it's fucking money. You know, it's honestly, you know, when Jesus was in the temple, you know, he was very accepting of the money changers. You know, in fact, he was all like, look, you guys need to bring in as many money changers as possible. If there's one thing that defines a church, it's how much money he has. Jesus was a really big proponent of that.
Yeah, he actually, remember he went to the
yeah.
temple and he started destroying all the shit?
Oh no, he from the way that I understand it from Cephalo is he had them throw their money on the pulpit, so that Jesus could get what, new sandals? Well, I don't know exactly what.
Yeah, it was new sandals for the Pharisee. That's what it was.
Yeah, new sandals, maybe a camel or something, a haircut.
Deodorant.
If there's one thing,
A new
Jesus
gold
was into,
sword
it was
for
fucking
Pilate.
cold hard cash.
God, what a sleazebag. $70 million for this fucking plane. The fuck?
Oh my God. It's crazy to look over it. I mean, that's for the plane. That's not for his multiple houses, for his boats, for his vacations, for his cars, for his limousines, for his chauffeurs. All of that from his congregation. And then he doesn't pay taxes on it.
Buy a small island with that.
Oh, I'm sure he does. I'm sure he has an island. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, I'm sure he has a retreat that's on an island. So he can tell other, you know, greasy ass pastors how to fleece their congregations.
Smoking the devil's lettuce.
Mm.
You know,
there is only one person on the planet I would not smoke one with, and that would be Cephalodala. Like I even like, you know what I mean? I know I might not waste it on Bill, right? But I'd smoke one with fucking Hillary Clinton. I would not even burn one with Cephalodala.
Oh,
If he came up and was like, "Can I hit that?" I'd be like, "Nah, man, nah."
It's not rolling a 20.
Yeah. Nah, did you throw in on this? Nah, fuck you, dude. Yeah, we'll see. We'll get the chance. Or you know what I mean? We'll see if he ever takes up on the offer. It's an open offer, you know, it's an open offer. And there's been several times, several stories in the Bible where you do have to prove your relationship with God. And I'd like to see that.
You don't know God till you meet him on the battlefield.
Exactly. And I have a sneaking suspicion when you look at him, that's not God you're looking at. And that's the deal. If I step in the ring with God, I'm scared as fuck. I step in the ring with Satan, even if I lose, I still fought Satan. Fuck you. Damn. Yeah. The chances of him coming up, we should invite him. We should invite him on there and like, don't tell him about me.
I'll just invite him on the show and be like, hey, yeah, this is a big.
Tell them you have another spiritual leader that, you know what I mean, that would love to talk with him and talk about his ministries on air. If he'd like to talk about his ministries, if he'd like to talk about his ministries in person, I swear I will fly to Georgia right now. Right now. Cephalodala. Yeah, I'm gonna need. Help me think of some names. I'm gonna need just to push the revolution. I'm gonna need a more gangsta name. I thought Terrence was pretty good.
Terrence.
Fears into my.
Terrence.
Oh shit, it's Terrence. Nobody has ever ran from a Cephalo. Oh shit, it's Cephalo. Nobody said that.
Did you have an Indian name up at Standing Rock? Did they give you one up there? Or?
Well, I mean, that's the deal. Like, I am native, so I have I have a name. Like, it's just not. It's just like it's a name your mom calls you. You know, like you can tell the people that come up and are fucking like, they're not like their hearts are in the right place, but you know, it's like everybody's like silver fucking, you know, black wolf fucking blah. Like they're names that it's like no native actually names their kid that. You know, like it's every once in a while you'll get one. Yeah, it's a couple of people that call me the Black Dog, but that's about it. My real name is Jay Bird. It's the one it is. It's not Silver Raven Wolf or whatever the fuck. You know what I mean? Soaring Eagle, whatever the fuck you designated yourself as.
Dapple Wolf or Dapple
Jay
Eagle?
Bird because I like Jaybirds sit in the trees and they'll kind of like talk to you. They're real like personable and they like chirp away when you're working outside. And that was kind of my personality. And as you guys hear me now, like it's kind of the same. You know, I sit in here and fucking chirp away.
Yeah.
But nah, we're gonna need something harder than that. I think a couple of my enemies call me like that little bastard. I've been called motherfucker quite a few times. I think that'd probably be the best nickname for me. That motherfucker.
Little bastard?
Yeah, little bastard. What happened?
Yeah,
Little bastard?
Yeah, that could work. No, we can do better than that though. That's a good start.
Well, I think like ODB's already taken, right? And I think he exemplified. Black Carlin, I think would be a good one. Be my affinity for the jokes. Like I love to like really talk shit about what's going on, but say it with a smile. Like it's that much more acceptable when it's hard to argue when you're busy laughing. And I think that was something that like I watch Carlin like nonstop. And it's what I try to fucking incorporate to how I talk when I'm on the air and all of that. Because he could say the most poignant things, but because it looked like a joke, you know, you were too busy laughing, and then by the time you were done laughing, what he just said sinks in. And then you can't, like, the argument's gone for it because what you're already laughing, it's already comical what your position is. You know what I mean? And that takes away so much power from your enemies. So yeah, if I was gonna pick my own nickname, it would be Black Carlin. And I'm also like, before I wasn't bald. Now I'm bald, and it makes a lot more sense because my hair went about the same. He held on with the ponytail for a lot longer than I did.
All right, he's going to be in Houston on 4/20. I think you can remember this, Terrence. 4/20, he's going to be in Houston.
Oh, Cephalo is?
Crap.
Yeah. It's called the Houston Change Experience.
Oh God.
How much is entry?
Oh, well, let's see here.
$1,000.
Well, no, look, the more you pay, the closer you are to God. So take that into consideration. Give you a free copy of his book.
Do you guys?
Yeah, man, they want me to enter all my information just to find out what the fucking price is here.
Now you're gonna get televangelist calls to your.
Would you like to worship the Lord for $49.99 a month?
No. Okay, yeah. Can I get it now, and I'll just tell him I'll pay him when I get there?
Hey, do you
guys
get
ready, man? This is a 9-hour, 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. You got to sit there for 9.
You couldn't pay me enough to sit down.
It depends. Do I get a chance to heckle Cephalo Dalla? I would sit there for 9 hours.
You get
quietly,
the
like clapping my hands, acting like I'm all about it, like I'm his biggest fucking fan, and then just be like, I talked to God 20 minutes ago. He said I'm here to collect. Yeah, look, dude, there's nothing I can do. I prayed about it. JC says I'm gonna need to take all of this. Yeah, it's hard luck, man. Did he not talk to you earlier? Yeah, he said he was going to. He'd give you the
Yeah,
heads
God
up,
told
but
me it was cool to kick your ass.
yeah. No, he said I gotta take all of this, man. Like it was the house of the Lord. God said He liked it. You guys gotta clean out. It's not up to me. You know what I'm
You got
saying?
to talk to God
This
about
came,
that one.
yeah, this came straight from the big man. So I'll get like one of those. I'll get like a clipboard so I seem real official. And just be the repo man. You know what I mean? Be like, look, there's not much I can do. The orders came down from the top. I got to take everything that's not nailed down. You know what I'm saying? You want Mr. What does it say? A klepto dollar? Something like that?
Some
Yeah, it turns out I'm going to need your shoes there, brother. Hey, don't blame me. It's on the clipboard. Once it comes down in the system, this has all got to go.
Since when does a man of God, need money? It's like historically, most prophets and pastors and monks and priests.
It's not even most. It's like absolutely all of them.
Yeah, are inherent. Well, that's not. Yeah,
whether you're.
No,
go ahead.
Yeah, most of them have been poor. You're supposed to live a life of poverty.
It's whether you're Christian, whether you're Muslim, whether you're Buddhist, every single major religion, all of the prophets, every time that God has sent one of His disciples to the planet, He has told you to feed the poor and that being rich is not good, right? That you have to fuck people over to get to be rich, not to be wealthy, right? But to be rich, you have to hurt people, right? And every single holy book says that. Right? Every single holy book says that you do not need money to be in the light of God. Every single one, and every single one immediately says, "I need to eat off a gold plate."
Who the fuck named him Dollar?
I think unfortunately that may be because he's Cephalo Dollar Jr. I don't know who his daddy is, but I think when he was born, he figured Cephalo was going to be a cheap pimp. And figured he was just going to give him the best chance possible. You know what I'm saying? Like, we know this is where you're going. So
he's just pimping for Jesus.
That's really where he should have been. He is like a greasy fucking street corner pimp. Right? And he's got all of the trappings. If he wasn't standing at that fucking pulpit, he would be hustling outside.
Jesus, Jesus Christ.
Cephalo Dollar. Can you not imagine him pulling up? Hey, baby, you want to talk about the Lord?
Oh, God, no.
Like Bernie Mac and Friday.
Dude, what's your name? Creflo Dollar? What the fuck? Where the fuck you grow up?
Cephalo Dollar.
Sound like a hemorrhoid medicine.
It does.
Oh, it does. It does. You have a
Well, it sounds like a dollar store. I mean,
yeah,
you're going to go down to the it's a dollar store somewhere.
Nothing better than some Cephalo Dollar brand ass cream.
Crippled dollar.
Hey, did you guys hear about this in the news? They're the largest DDoS attack happened last week. Packets were being sent at 1.3 terabits.
Wow.
Yeah, who's doing that?
I don't know. Specifically, what got hit was GitHub. And I was just like, well, it was either a saying, "Hey, look what I can do," or specifically, somebody who's got that
targeting. Now, I mean, we all know from Standing Rock, from Anonymous, from Occupy, if there's 10 activists standing in a room, if you have 10 anonymous people in a chat room, right, one of them is an infiltrator, right? One of them is working for the government. So what we've seen a big rise in is governments using hacker organizations, hacker groups to attack businesses, websites, things that they don't like. Now, whether this attack specifically was one, I couldn't tell you, but this isn't, you know what I mean? This is something that they've been using more and more often.
I don't.
And then they step back and say, "Oh, hey, it wasn't us. It was a unknown hacker group. It was, North Korean hackers." Where in actuality, North Korea didn't do anything. You hacked your system. You paid to have people hit your system.
I can think of ways to do this, but specifically what we're talking about is this is stuff that I used to talk about. This is DDoS, DDoS amplification on using botnets. This is like you're using you can use NTP or SNDP or weird protocols, but for the amplification. But either that or they used QJAS botnet. But like, dude, like
Well, I mean,
to pull up
these. I
something
mean, unless it was.
to pull up those kind of speeds, dude. Like you got to know your
You'd
shit.
have to have, but that's why I would say, there is a lot of government involvement that allows you access to hardware that just isn't really doable for small end. I can only spend so much on computers and servers and all of that.
I wonder if
Where they don't have those
I
limits.
mean, the only other way I could think of doing that was setting up a botnet using a Trojan on some porn site that would be like, "Hey, look, Julian Stormy Daniels, fucking porn," or or something weird.
Well, in like certain shopping sites, a lot of people think, oh, the dark net and porn sites are really where a lot of these viruses come from, and that's not normally the case. Most of the times when you get viruses, when you get with all sorts of different um, malicious software, it's from these shopping networks. So you think that you're getting 10% off of this or 10% off of that, or come here to enter a pool of some sort, and a lot of people that you wouldn't expect. So people, your secretary at the NSA, you know what I mean, one of your wives or a husband uses your phone for a second and uses it, and then that gives you access to a much bigger network, but not through the people that you would normally, or the ways that you would normally think, like I said, a porn site, where a lot of those are actually much more secure than your shopping sites are.
Yeah, I'm just wondering if this is another IoT Internet of Things attack, because it's I mean, because like that's how Mirai botnet worked, is using Internet of Things, and that was like at almost, I think it was like 600 gigabit. Now this DDoS attack is like
Yeah, huge.
huge. Like, what?
Yeah, I mean the numbers are just, it's insane.
And they did it to GitHub. Like the only thing I can think of is like, okay, was this like a guy who knew his shit? Was this government involvement? Why would you hate GitHub?
Why would you target GitHub?
like I can understand, be like, like I showed you, ha ha ha, like I got this shit. I mean, even their they had to switch protocols just to block all the fucking packets on their
That doesn't even sound political. I mean, there's like GitHub. I'm not.
yeah, it's
Wasn't
weird.
it? Wasn't that started by the guy Linus? Didn't he start GitHub?
No, Linus. I'm not sure about GitHub, but Linus is for Linux.
Yeah.
Yeah, but maybe I don't know. I don't know who GitHub possibly.
I thought he was. I thought he was in that early as well. But yeah, I mean, I just don't. It's weird because it doesn't seem to. I mean, they're not activists. I mean, it's a software exchange. It's not political. I'm just not seeing. I don't get it. Yeah.
I wonder if somebody found their software on GitHub and got really really mad.
Yeah. You're the reason I didn't make any money off of this. Yeah, I mean, it almost, it would have to be some sort of personal thing. Knowing, I mean, just, as a third thing, that does sound like maybe someone that's a bit disgruntled that would have had the technical skills to know their way around your system. And it's not uncommon for my, you know what I mean, from, I used to be a software developer for the military.
Well, you know what I'm talking about. The only way you could pull this off. You've heard of DDoS amplification using weird protocols, but that would be using a botnet with that understanding. You could pull something like that up, but it's not. That's not something like that's not easy.
No, but I mean, if you had access, the system that you use to do it might not actually know that they're doing it. I mean, it would be, like I said, the numbers are what make that crazy.
Yeah, He would have had to infected like a lot of shit to pull off those kind of numbers.
Yeah, but I mean, give time, maybe some time. We don't have a lot of these. Some of the recent ones, they were infected years ago. And because of people not updating their systems, because of it laying dormant, like nobody knew about it until it was go time.
Yeah.
So those there's probably a lot more of those going out that just as protocols changed and as updates came through that you no longer had the ability to do it. But there's plenty of software that is lying dormant inside of people's computers.
Watch this guy.
Look at the amount of people that are still using XP.
Watch this guy. This guy was waiting on this shit for like 10 years. He's like, yeah, they don't know what's coming to them. He presses the execute button to the specific IP address, and
just all hell breaks loose. It's one of those don't invite me to your birthday party.
Remember when the Mirai, the DYN DDoS, where they knocked out fucking like all the social media websites for like 3 days?
Oh, and there was a couple.
It was Facebook, Twitter, YouTube.
The DNAS attacks on fucking Sony, man. That was awesome. Screwed up my entire
gaming experience.
Me and my boys play because I travel so much. My sons and I play, PlayStation together. And it's a way for us to stay connected and do fun stuff together. And it fucked that whole thing up. So I was kind of pissed.
Well, that was wasn't that Lizard,
it was a Christmas.
Wasn't that Lizard Squad? Christmas. Wasn't that Lizard Squad that did that? They got the way that they got into the PlayStation Network was really weird.
Yeah, that was Lizard Squad. Thanks, guys.
And then Lulsec did that before. They did that as well, like 2 years before that.
Yeah, it was Lizard Squad that pulled it off on Christmas. Was it? It was Christmas. I think it was Christmas Day. But yeah,
so I was going on with it again.
I got them an extra because I got them an extra PlayStation, so all three of us could play together. Fucking turn it all on. Crash, Lizard Squad. Thanks, guys.
Well, I remember when Lulsec did it. It was like to show them that they had a vulnerability. That was like more meaningful. But I think when Lizard Squad did it just to do it.
Yeah. Oh no, they totally. I mean, that's what they said. We could, so we did. Which is Sony's fault. You have all that money, all that power. You should have really
invested in security. Yeah.
You thought that would have been the first thing they'd done.
You think, right?
No. Buying extremely expensive toys is their first thing to do. You need houses, cars, boats, planes, and then we can work on and then when all of that's done, then we can work on security. Oh, it's always like 20/20 hindsight with these guys. It's the same with the current administration. It's going to be amazing to see all the books and all the people that are going to claim that they were, taken back and completely, against everything that Trump was doing. But it's not a word from them yet. Right. Everybody, when it's going on, nobody has anything to say. But then after the fact, it just in droves. We never stood with him.
He touched me there.
The whole thing was messed up.
He touched me there. It was inappropriate. Yeah. What's up with this Stormy Daniels? Can anybody explain to me what the Stormy Daniels? What the fuck is Trump doing with this fucking porn star, dude? What the fuck is this shit about?
The same thing he does with all the porn stars.
Yeah, I mean, he's they're. I mean, I'm not in any way calling the first lady a porn star. She was a model, but that's just that was the porn star model. Fucking, that's the people that you can buy for money are the people that he sleeps with. That was pretty much what it is. Now I know with Stormy Daniels, that wasn't her intent, and I think during while she was getting fucked, she was all like, "Oh, please don't try to pay me," which was I guess what she was thinking during the event. So all of it, I think we need to give some of these women, a little bit of leeway here. They're the ones that had to sleep with Donald Trump. There is nothing worse that we can do to them. right? The first lady is in a horrible spot. She has to have sex with Donald Trump. Ugh. Not like we don't think very often because she's never there. But
Yeah, she doesn't even. She doesn't even live there. She lives in the Trump Towers in New York.
well, if you knew you were gonna have to have sex with Donald Trump, would you live there?
I don't want to think about that.
So I
Bad
mean, and
visual.
right now, just like the Clintons, you know what I mean? Your husband was fucking somebody while they were with you, and that causes all sorts of problems. She does not look. She has the look. If you've ever had a woman that's been mad at you and then had to go into somewhere where she's supposed to, where you have to act like everything's cool, she has that look on her face 24/7. Right? Like, yeah, I'll go to the event, but right, the only reason that she's not calling you out for fucking this porn star while she was pregnant with your kid was that it's bad for the country. But that's it.
Hold on. I think I got a Trump one here. Hold on, I put up an image of Trump.
Maybe she joined in.
I don't know. Maybe
there we
she
go.
Seems
I got
from
the
their,
role
from their,
models one. There you go.
she seems like a one and only kind of girl. You know what I'm saying?
Right. They all do.
Yeah, like I reckon she'd give you what you paid for.
There's one for you from her early days in a porn flick.
Oh, bummer.
Oh, that's Melania Trump. Yeah, isn't that?
It's because we both got the same nails. Same last name. As long as a Daniels takes
Same
Trump
nails.
down, then I'm happy.
Wait, Melania did porn?
Yeah.
Damn, I didn't know that.
I thought she just did some like nude modeling.
That's what I thought too.
Yeah, that doesn't count as porn.
I think there was some lesbian porn. That's what I heard in the old Slovakian days. Or there was. I'm not holding that against her.
Yeah, come on. Who hasn't done a little lesbian porn in fucking Slovakia?
Yeah, I mean that's a nice picture. I mean it's a picture. It's a good picture.
It's
Yeah, I mean,
tasteful.
look, there's no doubt that she's a beautiful person. It's just that like it's not hidden that he bought you either. Like nobody believes that somehow you guys are madly in love.
Oh no, man.
Yeah, why is anybody figured out why all of these supermodels are always so attracted to billionaires? It's got to be their cologne.
No, the secret is cocaine.
Okay, I'll give you that.
I was thinking maybe the toilet paper.
Most of that's because they've got money. If you've got money, you've got cocaine.
You got money, you can do whatever you want.
Yeah, I mean it has something to do with being a gold digger. I think.
Even a little. I ain't saying she a gold digger. Actually,
I just, I mean, there's gold diggers out there. I mean,
oh no, it's 100. I mean, come on, it's. I agree, it's 100%. But there's a difference between like a standard gold digger. These are professional gold diggers.
oh yeah.
You know what I mean? These aren't.
I'll give you credit.
Everyday...
Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna do it to the guy that's gonna be president, right? I mean. Come on.
I don't
who
think
doesn't
like
want to
the
be
look
there?
on her face. I don't think that she is happy or in any way thought that he was going to make it
like,
as president.
Yeah, she's like, when is this guy gonna die so I can get all the money?
Oh no! When they went and talked to the Pope and everybody showed up in all black. It really it looked like a funeral. I think they honestly thought that he was going to be struck down at that point.
Do you remember when he did that speech and like he forgot that Melania was like right next to him and like was saying that he was there in her absence and like she was sitting right next to him.
Oh no! If you want to know if they're having marital problems or not, his last speech, right? He refers to her as the first lady and not Melania.
Oh,
as in you would in any conversation that you were, you know what I mean, that you were talking to somebody that not just that you're at odds with, but that, you know what I mean, it was just the first lady. You know, the first lady's here, not my wife, not Melania, not the person that we're trying to desperately keep quiet from completely destroying my presidency. The first lady, like you talk about her in meetings.
Yeah, you know what? I remember Michelle. Like Michelle would do a lot of shit, but when it comes to Melania, it's like here and there, but a lot of times you don't hear anything about her.
Well, I don't think she's happy in what's going on. Even in the like the immigration and the
Yeah,
racism
I was
thing,
gonna say, I was gonna say,
she's an Eastern European immigrant, and I think as Trump and a lot of these people do, they think that their yes men are telling them the truth. Just because she bows her head and says yes, Donald, does not mean she agrees with you. That means you've paid for her to be quiet, right? Well, this is what I think about what should be done. Yes, Donald. You're the strongest, Donald. You're the smartest, Donald. Right? It's just insane that he fucking believes it. That's what you've paid for. Yes, you have
He's a
nice words,
narcissist. He
Donald.
needs to be stroked.
I love listening to your
Stroke his
words,
ego.
Donald. I'm sure she barely speaks English just to keep fucking out from actually having to listen to what he says.
she cusses him out in check and stocks shit behind his back.
It's not even like it is because she's paid to smile at him anytime that he looks at her. That's in her contract. And she does. You see it in the videos. He looks back and she smiles, like lovingly back at him. Yes, Donald. Right? And as soon as he turns her back, it immediately melts into, oh my God, I can't stand this motherfucker.
At least you don't have a penis.
How do you know? No.
At least I don't have a what?
Or at least she don't have a penis. I haven't seen any in the photos.
That's good. We would know for sure about Michelle Obama, but she's never done porn, so I don't know if that's a win or loss for you.
That's a win for not having to see it.
Yeah.
I think she's good looking.
Was Michelle Michael? No.
I know we get and look, I just get it here too. Like
Years
there is
ago.
a certain point where it's like you do mock the first lady in by extension, but I don't think either of them are are horrible people. I think their husbands are. I don't know what too much they can do about it. Honestly, because they still haven't figured out exactly where the leaks are coming from in the White House, I would not be surprised if it was Melania or Ivanka. It's Ivanka, right? His daughter? Yeah, like I would not be surprised if they're the ones that are leaking information. And like like they do in this case, like the fact if you're telling me that a woman wouldn't smile in your face, that you just got done telling that you fucked a porn star while she was pregnant with your kid, if you don't think she would stab you in the back, you're a fucking idiot, man. I'd be careful what you eat. Right? So your like right hand man is the daughter of the person that you dumped because she got too old for you and replaced with Melania. And you don't think that she would leak information on you. You fucked over her mom, and you don't think that she would smile at you and leak information. Dude, I mean, it's those kind of decisions and those kind of people that you've surrounded yourself with. The old thing, like keep your enemy, your friends close, but your enemies closer, only leaves you surrounded by enemies. And if there was one person that I would say would stab you in the back in a heartbeat, it's a woman scorned.
Yeah.
You replace their mom
Guaranteed.
with a supermodel. Had no problem at saying that the reason you broke up with their mom, the reason that you left her is because you were fucking everything that you could, right? And that she had passed her prime. That's why he broke up with her. You got too old. And replaced her with the first lady. And then put that daughter as your right-hand man. That's smart, man. That's smart. Where are these leaks coming from?
Screen door on a submarine deal.
Yeah, good luck, man.
Well, Jared's what a nephew of George Soros. I mean, there's another avenue that's convenient.
Yeah, there's quite a few. I mean, even the FBI. So, I mean, I guess you expect the FBI not to be bugging the White House. It's the only place on the entire planet they don't have bugs. You believe that if you want. I would say his firing of Comey was probably the worst thing that he could do. If there's one group of people that you should not arbitrarily piss off, it's the FBI.
Why not? It's fun.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know where these leaks are coming. You fired I don't like the guy, right? I don't like fucking Comey not one bit, but you fired the head of the FBI that was loved by his other fucking oppressive minions. That's not smart, dude.
Well, you know, he
The
attacked.
people with all the information, the leak that comes about him pissing on people or the Russian, at the end of the day, that's going to come from the FBI. Why? Because you fired Comey. That was probably the stupidest move you could do. And he wasn't clean.
He
You
should have
could have
fired them
gotten
all.
rid of him. You could have gotten rid of him through his workings with the Clinton campaign. All of that's came out now. But that's not what you did. Instead, you scorned the FBI. Not smart, man. Not a good people to fucking double cross like that. You can cross them, but I wouldn't double cross them like that.
I don't know. Trump's come after. Remember Trump? He verbally assaulted. You know, he's a Jeff Sessions. Like every. I don't know, man. Like, not that Jeff is like a good guy or anything like that. Like, but because of the stuff
Well,
he's come after everybody.
Yeah, what's the nickname
anybody.
he's got? What's the nickname he's got for Jeff Sessions? He's got a nickname.
Oh,
for
does
him.
he?
I gotta look it up.
Oh,
Yeah, he's got a little
there's got to
nickname
be
for him.
one. Well, I mean, anybody with any dignity, if Sessions had any dignity, he'd have left. It's like, I didn't listen to this motherfucker talk to me like that, talk about me like that.
Oh no,
But he does. I mean, he's a little weasel. He's okay with it. He'll do
He might
anything.
get the chance to fucking invade those tree hugging hippies in fucking California. He's staying. He doesn't seem like, you know what I mean? He is that kind of little. He's the Eichmann of the fucking bunch. You know what I mean? He is that little weasel in the back.
Oh yeah,
He'll say whatever
bad
he
news.
wants because he'll take it because he's a weasel.
Sessions, yeah, for sure.
I'd make all of the fucking podiums a little bit taller just to fuck with him.
Isn't he small? I heard he's a small guy.
He's tiny.
Oh,
he's
yeah.
like a little angry.
He's
racist
like a little
people
Ewok.
elf.
Oh, JD.
He is literally like the polar opposite of Yoda. Sessions is just like, I mean, all of them at this point, it really is like a circus. It's a clown show. He's just one of the clowns that comes out of the clown car.
Dude, like, I wonder what's gonna happen when election comes up. Like.
When will we learn? Do
Yeah.
not let people with little man syndrome take over our justice systems. When has that ever worked out? Like, it's just like that kind of person doesn't need to be in charge of extreme
Like I know,
power
like I know,
because
like
they can't
I
handle
know
it
we
well.
haven't really had a great president in like 150 years or so or longer. But I'm just saying, maybe even.
They're all trashed.
Yeah, but I was gonna.
Yeah,
say,
I'm not.
I was gonna.
I'm not. I can put a couple of names out there, but yeah, not. I can't say any in the last 150 years have been.
Yeah, but I was just gonna say like how much. Like, oh my god.
Excuse me. Sorry.
Like I seriously like picture America with like Hillary Clinton and it's really bad, and I picture like right now with Trump it's really bad. Like I'm just like what the fuck is next, dude? Like,
It really was the difference. You know, they came out with your choices. In one hand, a big pile of cat shit. In one hand, a big pile of dog shit, and asked you which was best. We went with dog shit. But at the end of the day, right, we're still eating crap no matter how we go about it. And I think that was a problem. Just about height. I was really like shocked about how fucking tall Bernie Sanders is. He's not short. Like on TV, he seems like he seems small, like a, you know what I mean? Like kind of a small grandpa kind of thing. But nah, he's like normal height, you know what I mean? I think he's like 6'1", maybe 6 foot. It was enough that when I sent, I thought, wow, I thought you were a lot shorter, man.
God, I don't know.
No, it was just, the decision, there's still a couple of Hillary bots running around there. You know what I mean? Look.
I heard she's trying to run again. I heard she's like, what the fuck? Like, you fucking lost like 3 times.
Look, you can run. The Democrats, the Democrats have one choice. They can run Bernie Sanders or they can lose. That's it. You're not going to pull another oligarch out of the woodworks. You're not going to pull a little puppet out that, you know what I mean, is just new enough that you can still control him. If Bernie Sanders doesn't run for president under the Democratic ticket, the Democrats are not going to win. If for some reason Bernie leaves and runs as an independent, then we don't really have to worry about Republicans or Democrats winning the seat. But if they don't do that, they will lose. If they run Hillary Clinton again, right, then Trump will be president again. And that goes to that thing again. It's the devil you know. You know everything about him. You know he's a sack of shit. You know he's a sleazeball. You know what I mean? You know all of those things. You know he's a braggart. The things that we know about Hillary Clinton are even worse. Look, you want my support? Fair enough. Give me the $2 billion that the Hillary Clinton fund has in bank right now. Right? You want to give up some of the money that you've stolen from people, right? That isn't hidden, right? There is no reason for a nonprofit to have $2 billion, right? If you want to pay some of that money back,
Give it
then
to the
you can run.
Haitians, the ones that they stole it from.
Oh fuck, man! At this point, give it to anybody but yourself,
Yeah.
right? But unless you're planning on doing that, then no, you're still the same person that went and gave a speech to bankers saying that you have one face for the U.S. public and one face for the banking industry. That's called being two-faced, and we don't elect two-faced officials. Fuck, we barely can elect flip-floppers. But you're like openly two-faced. You actually said that. And I have to believe that since she believed that there was nobody recording and nobody watching, she knew it. Right? She stood with the oil industry and the pipelines and not with us at Standing Rock and not with the people. Right? She called us fucking super predators, supported the prison industrial complex, and then brought fucking hot sauce to dinner, acting like she has anything to do with the black struggle, with the struggle of people. Yeah, I just like there's no reason for me to ever. It's just like look, I walked away from the party. I had a nice cushy job with the fucking Bernie campaign. I loved it, right? We were on social media, we were dominating it, right? We were destroying the corporate media, right? People were coming to our pages for information. We were live streaming the events, right? We destroyed them. And then I'm supposed to support Hillary Clinton. You ran your campaign about being against the oligarchy and then ran the number one oligarch, like the poster child for an oligarchy. So yeah, man, I walked away from it. They still invite me to the parties, so that's cool. Like they do need us right now, and they need us every election, so I can still talk shit and come to the parties. I like a lot of the people that I worked with. I like Bernie Sanders. I love Jane Sanders. I've interviewed her several times. They're people that I enjoy talking with, enjoy conversing with. But if you expect me to stand with the people that have fucked us over for, you know what I mean, for as long as I can remember, answer is no. When we were at the first meeting and they because we knew about this a week, 2 weeks beforehand when they were closing down the offices, when they knew about it, dude, I literally fell off my chair laughing. I thought it was a joke. And I don't mean figuratively. I thought it was a joke. Like the guy, I can't actually name him on the show, unfortunately, but the guy came in, gave our team the quick briefing. I thought it was a bit. Right? Like, oh, we're switching everything over to the Hillary campaign. I thought it was a joke. I was fucking laughing. And then he looks at me in seriousness and is like, no, we need to start switching over. Here are the posts that we need to have. And I'm like, I'm not doing that.
I quit.
No, I'm out. Thanks. They still sent me a cool Christmas card and all of that stuff. And if any of them would like to not work for the corporation, then yeah, I'm totally down. But if you expect me to ever stand with people that support oil pipelines, you got to be out of your fucking mind. Well, other black leaders, other leaders of color are standing with us. Well, I don't give a fuck. You're having their kids put in prison. Right? I'm getting tear gassed in Standing Rock, and you're telling me I need to support the Clintons? No way. But it was real, and I think to a lot of people that were working for the campaign, it was just as much of a shock. You know, Bernie was going to be president. He was the people's choice, right? On the right, on the left, even the people on the right were all like, look, I don't like everything that he's standing for, but I don't think the guy's fucking lying to me, right? Which was really what people were voting for. not whether you were right or left. And that's the one thing that's like slowly coming out with Trump. It's not what he stood for that got elected. You can almost stand for anything in America as long as you're standing strong and true to it. People will vote for you because you're not a liar. And as time went on, the banks that you were talking about, the things that you said you were against, you turned out to be a liar, like every other politician. And that's what people are getting away from voting for. And there's no bigger liar than the Clintons.
That's true. Oh God.
They made their career out of it. They're good.
And killing people.
Now I do like. Oh yeah, fuck. Bill Clinton did give me my first award, so that was kind of cool. It was for the young authors program that was at the DoD school that I was going to. And he was real big in, like, he came to the schools. He was real big into education. Got a minute to like talk with him. And kind of hang out. He was like a real chill dude, like knowing what I knew now. I was a
Stoned
kid.
all the time.
He may have been. I mean, it's weird because politicians, like everyone, it's an act. You know what I mean? But there are with everyone, like I've said about all of these guys, a broken clock is right twice a day. But it did seem, I will say, like they're heartless bastards and money-grubbing motherfuckers. But they couldn't take any money from the DoD schools. So, you know, he was big into education, and I did see that. And I was definitely thankful for the presidential award and all of that. It did send me on a path that I wouldn't have been on in other cases. I got to hang out. My dad was commander of the base that we were at. So I did get to hang out with Chelsea a couple times. She was super cool. We were all just like...
Isn't she ugly? Oh, what's I hear?
Oh, you know, I'm not going to get too far into this, but you know, when we were teenagers, you know what? She was pretty fucking cute. I'll go with that. I'm not gonna say anything because it's all time. You know, we were kids. It was
we
all
were
time,
kids, and I kissed her, and things happened.
You know what? I did not get that. I did not get that close. But being like a young teenage boy, and we did have kind of a couple of talks there. I thought about it. I could be the second kid. I don't know, like
the
that,
second
that
kid.
neighbor that like neighbor that comes over to the White House all the time. That would totally fucking rock. But in the time that, like, when we were teenagers, she was like, they were real people. You know what I mean? She was a cool kid. Like I said, we only hung out, I think, that one or two times. But nah, she was super cute when she was a kid, no doubt. Maybe some of that was teenage hormones. I don't know. It's one of those weird things because I've been like involved in politics my entire life. You know what I mean? Like my first memory is of being at the Berlin Wall, of literally taking pieces off with a hammer, of the elation that people saw from freedom and unity. But that was like my first, you know, the barbed wire and the attack dogs and the guys with machine guns. I was a kid, man. And that was like my first look into activism, was being there and helping there. And since then, I've been, you know, in halls of government. I've been with Occupy and Anonymous, and I've been with so many great groups, but it's always just been kind of around me waiting to happen. And in that time, like, both of my parents were in the military. My dad was HHD commander. You know, we had the opportunity to meet a lot of these people. And I've always thought, in playing and talking with their kids, that, you know, if I ever got the opportunity to talk to them again, that knowing that they're real people, that I might be able to get through to them. And in some cases, it's worked. I've gotten information and help to get things done from people that you would not have expected to help me on either end. You know what I mean? And still stayed true to who I was. You know what I mean? Like, look, I need help with this. We were friends back in the day. Hey, you do know you work for an evil corporation, right? Some of my friends at Google and Apple and fucking and Microsoft, like, we have those exact conversations. Like, guys, I really need help with this. We really need, I'll give you an example. Like, we really need to keep live streaming and to keep the world's eye on Standing Rock. They're shutting off our internet. They're, you know what I mean? They're blacklisting us. They're censoring us, right? They're destroying our equipment. Can you guys help us keep internet? Yes, and they fucking helped us, no doubt, and gave us equipment that I couldn't afford, that are in the range of millions of dollars. And then managed to keep through satellites and all sorts of stuff, kept us live streaming. But on the same conversation, I would say, hey, you guys are working for the bad guys, right? Like, why don't we, you know what I mean? Why don't we use this company to do great things in the world instead of screwing people over and selling their information? And it's so weird to have the conversation with the people that are working for an evil corporation because they need a job compared to the people that are running an evil corporation.
Yeah.
We just got to get into the right places at the right time. Like, just as us.
Yeah, if you can ever link, if you can ever link up the politics, right? I mean, it's like anything, like Standing Rock. I mean, if you can get a party behind you, or the bigger groups, I mean, you can put big stuff together. But just getting everything lined up properly, it's not easy.
Yeah, that's the deal. You have to play the long game. You know what I mean? In each of these things that's happened, I mean, I'm not just speaking about myself, but I can only speak about my own experience. In each of these things that have happened, these movements, the change in media, the move to social media instead of corporate media, in each step of these, we learn something. Right? We learn how to fight our opponents better. At Standing Rock, we learned how to stand up against the most powerful military in the world and not use a single weapon. Right? Arguably the most powerful corporations in the world, the oil industry, and not use a single weapon. We learned how to use those things. And as we do them, the Bernie Sanders campaign, right? I managed to control hundreds and thousands of people. I think we're up to 6 million now through tons of pages and seeing what we can do because of that, right? When the corporate media, when the politicians come out and say something that we know is a lie, we can post it on our pages, on our sites. We can get the word out through avenues that normally we wouldn't have access to. Right now I'm running, 10 Senate and congressional campaigns. And look, I haven't hid it from any of those people. My deal is that if good people are in control of these things, then it won't be taken over. We can use that to our benefit. Look, if you want us to support you, if you want to use our social media platforms, if you want to use our voice, then you have to stand with the people always. Right? No money from corporations, no any of that. And controlling social media platforms, controlling their pages is 1,000 times better than getting paid money. Then it's something that our opponents do not have. And it takes each one of those things to happen for us to learn those things. The Bernie Sanders campaign taught us an amazing amount of stuff. How to turn a meme into a movement, how to destroy a campaign with a picture and a couple of words, and how to get that out to the people. That took a learning process. Dude, it's taken me 10 years to even get here. And we're just, in actuality, we're just getting started. Even if we finally kill off the fossil fuels industry, that's just the beginning. They're not even actually a monster, right? They're rich and they have power, but it's fading quickly. The pharmaceutical industry, prison industrial complex, military industrial complex, they're monsters, right? Chemical industries, these guys will sick dogs on you. The pharmaceutical industry, the military industrial complex, they will send SEALs to kill you. They will undermine an entire country to get what they want. They will kill millions of people to get what they want. They won't even leave sleep over it, right? Those are some real enemies. And, I'm not playing around when I say that, you know what I mean? Think of all of the activists that they have put holes through permanently for even standing up against them, right? So, I mean, we do have some extremely powerful enemies, some extremely dangerous enemies to take on in the end. And I mean, I would prefer not to die, right, in this struggle. But even if I don't, they will kill activists to keep us from talking. Right? Some of us are going to be executed because we're speaking the truth, because we're fighting against corporations, because we're fighting against corrupt corporations. So, I mean, I think we have to lose all of this to learn how to fight those kind of evils, and to do it on our own ground. If we try to play their game, we'll lose. If we try to be violent, we'll lose. They know violence, right? They know how to murder people. If we use anything else, we have an extreme amount of power, but we have to organize and use it, which is much easier said than done. And on the social media part, because so many of us are on social media, the rise and fall of social media stars is hard. And as soon as it happens, it takes the entire movement, it can destroy an entire movement. Look at TYT and their infighting, right? It's pretty much destroyed TYT. Nobody looks to them as being,
I'm not familiar with
yeah,
it.
as the Young Turks.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, they had a great platform, speaking for the people, the works, and over internal fighting and personal issues, and coming out in support of Hillary Clinton. Not talking about Standing Rock and then saying, hey, we're going to sell Standing Rock T-shirts, but we don't actually support the movement. That's undermined almost everything about them. And that's been seen with a lot of YouTubers and social media personalities.
Didn't one of the guys actually get into like a fight with Alex Jones? Like,
oh yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah.
So Sync,
Turk
the
and
owner, Sync, the owner of it.
that was hilarious. That was like, there's like, see the look on Alex Jones' face when it went down. It was funny as fuck.
See, I think
it was
personally,
a
I
setup.
watched that and I loved it that somebody finally put their money where their mouth is, but it looked a bit staged to me. It looked like that was real good ratings for both Alex Jones and TYT. Because neither of them really threw any blows, right? They kind of pushed to, Alex Jones made his point and went off in kind of a huff, still kind of being a big man. And, Sync looked like a big dude, you know what I mean, kicking him off of his site. I
thought they were literally going to throw blows there, dude. Like,
yeah, but they didn't, is the deal. So because they didn't, what was that?
Well, that one guy spit on Alex Jones. He spit on one of those guys. I think that's why he got kicked off there, slightly shortly
I thought
after
that
that.
Alex went in and started attacking the host there, the female host, and a couple of people kind of came to her aid. Like neither of the things that either of the people said there.
Well, she called him a fat fuck.
He is a fat fuck.
I was like, it's like, well, I didn't see anything there. Just, hey,
it's something that like I'm.
Oh yeah, she told him. She said, "Yeah, get the hell out of here, you fat fuck." I remember that.
Yeah, and Alex. Okay, it's not. I have no problem with Alex Jones being chunky. Okay, that is really completely fine. I don't think that he looks like he's actually a fat fuck. I don't think that he looks like he's overweight. I think he looks like he's just healthy. But he pushes those pills online for male mentality, right? And he'll take off his shirt and look, dude, you're like a average chunky dude, right? You're not buff in any way, shape, or form. Those are not turning you into a manly muscled machine. You look like you're an average chunky dude with a little bit of a tan. But he'll get on his show and be like, these are the pills of male vitality. If you want to be the rippling muscle of whatever, and you're like, dude, you're none of those things.
But all you got to do is get on it. See, he likes doing those shots like Putin does, where he's on that horse with his shirt off. It's the same kind of imagery going on there.
Now, I won't. Okay, in my first set of fucking videos and stuff, and just being who I am, I don't wear a shirt very often, right? I'm either wearing the suit or no shirt at all, right? I live on an island. I don't give a fuck, right? But I also do like thousands of push-ups and sit-ups a day. You dig? It's not like I'm going in trying to push some sort of pill, right? If you want to be in good shape, you got to work out. Like that's it. No, eat good. You can't be putting shit into your body. All of that. The Putin-esque, Putin isn't really all that buff either. None of y'all should really are good enough looking to have your shirt off. And that's kind of how I feel about it. It's not, look, if you wanna take your shirt off in your show or any of that and you're comfortable with it, that's totally cool. That's who you are. But now you're trying to convince me that your chunky butt is like the ideal of male vitality, and it's all like, dude, you're huffing and puffing on a snowbank, right, on a snow lift. He gave his last live stream from, if nothing says you've been bought by the oligarchy than giving your live stream from a private ski resort. But he's like huffing and puffing on a ski lift and then trying to tell everybody that he's the pinnacle of male vitality.
Like,
I don't believe
I
it.
actually wonder. I would actually wonder if like some of the craziness, on his show is not only because of the drugs, because some of the shit that he's taking. I'm like, dude, if you're taking those testosterone booster pills, man,
No,
like,
yeah, I
remember
mean,
like when he started getting angry when he ate a sausage on stage, like
oh, he gets like really, really, really like
raging.
off the, yeah,
Yeah,
like
it's
off
funny, man.
The
the
left
loop, just crazy mad about stuff. And I mean, it's not just a show. He is like red faced
Or
mad.
like when he says, or when he has that thing where this clip that they replay all the time on his show where some guy named Frank calls and he says like, "Oh yeah, you're just boosting," and then he starts yelling at this guy. He says, "I need your help, Frank! I need your help! I need your money, Frank! I need you." Like, dude, like, what the fuck,
My favorite is him
Oh,
and
that
the
was
gay
funny.
frogs. They're turning the frogs gay. The
dude?
frogs. I've never like they're putting drugs in. Like I do think that they are putting chemicals into our environment. I just don't think that they're putting ones to make us gay. It's just so fucking weird. It does push the limit of like, dude, what are you on about? They're putting things in our water to make us gay. Well, wait a minute. What if you're already gay? Does it make you extra gay, or are you double gay? Like, how does that work? You go from just being
I don't
gay
know,
to
man. Look
fabulous.
around.
There
I
are
don't know.
gay people in the world, man. You guys are just gonna have to deal with that.
Hey guys, we got 4 minutes. 4 minutes left before the timer runs out.
We'll wrap it up. Yeah, we'll wrap it up. Yeah, I don't know. There is a weirdness about some of our politicians' obsession with homosexuality. Like, I dig it. I dig it. You're not gay. Calm down. Or the senators that come out and they're all like, every time I turn on my computer, there's nothing but gay boys on there. Dude, stop typing gay boys into your search engine. Oh, there's nothing but gay porn. Me and one of the other guys were talking about this. Okay, when you go to your favorite porn site, it's split up. I have never accidentally clicked on a gay porn site. Right? What the fuck are you typing in where there's all this gay porn everywhere?
I mean, there's plenty to choose from. I mean,
Oh no, even
You
if
don't
you go,
have to.
they're more than open, right? They've got gay porn, trans porn, straight porn, right? You can easily pick what you want, but unless you're looking for gay porn, it doesn't show up on your computer. There's all these sexy boys all over the internet. You are having some issues. Not only are you into men, but you're a child molester.
Maybe the algorithm's so good that they've actually figured out their personality, and that's all they see.
Oh, that seems to be easy now because every Republican that's ever came out staunchly against gay, like against people being gay, has turned out to not only be gay but to be into some weird shit. So it would
Yeah.
seem pretty easy. I don't understand why the Republicans just don't come out and admit to being the gay party. Right? So many of their senators have been exposed as being gay after the fact. Why not just say that you guys are the party? Right? The Republicans are the gay party.
What
Look
about
at how many of
yeah,
their
the
senators.
weird gay orgies that go on at Bohemian Grove? I mean, come on, guys.
Oh, this is the worst. Like,
Oh
fuck, man, that
man.
would be. And it isn't like, it just seems like I would be the worst person to invite to this. Like, hey, would you like to come to an orgy?
Would
Yeah.
you like to worship the
Right?
devil and
Yeah,
then
yeah.
come
I'll
to
be there.
an all male
Oh, there's
orgy? I mean, it's the thing
not
to
only are
do.
they all
Well, yeah, it's a redwood forest.
not only is it all gay, but they're all young boys. Dude, there is literally
Ooh.
nothing at this party that interests me, and I feel that all of you should go to jail at the least.
You remember when AJ said they were chasing him through the forest? He and this other guy had to get away from him.
Oh, fuck, man. You got a bunch of naked, horny fucking congressmen chasing you. They're all on Viagra. That would be a nightmare.
Oh
Can you
man.
imagine all that pasty rich flesh running towards you?
Oh God!
Oh man.
All right, guys, we
Yeah.
got
Why
1 minute. 1 minute.
Uh-oh. Make it quick. Thanks for, like, I guess for, we didn't really get to our comments right now. I'll try to go through and do all the comments. I know I didn't do like an intro or anything. I'm Terrence Daniels. You guys can look me up, Terrence. see some of the stuff that we've got going on, follow me on Twitter, Terrence at STR, or Terrence_STR. Yeah, like I really
Creflo Dollar match. We have to.
Yeah, if you guys got a line, I can't actually post on Cephalo's page anymore, but tell him I'm looking for him. Oh, Terrence is waiting for you under your bed. Sleep well. Not even. Look, man, I'm not going to do anything like crazy. I just want to stand in your closet and watch you. Just watch you sleep.
And with
When
that,
he's not expecting it. Oh no, go ahead.
oh yeah, and with that, I'd just like to thank all of our listeners. We will be back on next Thursday, same time, 6:30 p.m.
What was this? This was 102, right?
Yeah, this is episode 102. Yeah.
Ow! Look at that. Anonymous Bites Back, our 102nd episode, right? We are not going anywhere. Share this out, right? If you like what we're talking about, if you like things that you'd like to know more about, if you've got things that you want us to talk about on the show, message us. Like part of what we do is being connected with the people. That's what makes all of this work. So please feel free to share out what we're talking about and what we're doing here. Give us the support and we'll do the same. We'll support you guys. We'll talk about and expose anything and everything that we possibly can.
All right, and yeah, but thank you to everybody who's listening, and we'll roll out with the credits.
All right.
I hereby declare this to be an unlawful assembly.